Do you smell what Barack is cooking?
Communism is based.
We love you. You're very special.
Do you smell what Barack is cooking?
And that's the bottom line because John McCain said so.
Communism is based. Communism is based.
Freedom!
Hello? Mic test? How do I sound? I haven't streamed on this microphone, I don't think. Am I quiet?
Communism is based.
It's just a grotesque postmodern psyop, and anyone who's fallen for this is brain damaged.
Holy shit. Shout out to Matt for the gifty, and Fiji for the resub. And Matt with yet another gifty. Oceanic with the resub for 22 months. Floating Head with the resub for 23 months. Matt gifting a sub to Chaos Soul. Dave the Oshi resubbing for 25 months.
It's just a grotesque postmodern psyop, and anyone who's
That
fallen for
96
this is
gifting
brain
a tier 1
damaged.
sub to Bottled Boats. Thanks. Bear Magic with a resub for 21.
Communism is based.
Aaron, 92 with a primer for 25 months.
Freedom!
And now Zenith 42 for 32. Hey, thanks. All of you.
Do you smell what Barack is cooking?
Yeah, we have about 47 minutes until the scheduled start time.
America is the most open, least racist nation on the planet.
And we could use that time to
Communism is based.
whip up some drinking game rules. I freaking love whales. Thanks for the sub. Comic Brit, thank you for the sub. Yeah, I'm looking at my OBS bars. It kind of seems like my mic audio seems like fine.
We love you. You're very special.
Julian Yetization, thanks for the sub. I love America, I love the GOP, and I love Twitch.tv/the Deezus. I heard Trump isn't going to be at this debate. That's correct. He's too good. He says, I'm in a league of my own, I'm not showing up. Too busy getting booked. He's scheduled a conflicting interview with Tucker on X that I think is meant to get posted at, because it's not like they live stream. I think it gets posted on Tucker's X page at the exact same time that the debate starts. It's not out of the realm of possibility, chat, that Tucker and Trump pre-recorded the interview and Trump shows up to the debate WWE style, Stone Cold Steve Austin glass shattering, walks down the alleyway. He could show up anyways. If he was just like a heckler in the crowd, imagine. Trump shows up as drink lots in the rules. Oh yeah, absolutely. So funny thing about this one, chat. This one's being streamed on Rumble. You guys know what Rumble is? You guys ever browsed Rumble? It's not on YouTube. Fox News made it a point
Do you smell what Barack is cooking?
to not they're whoever the chair of the RNC is, I forget her name. I'm pretty sure it's some old lady. We're going anti-big tech. So they're live streaming on Rumble. This is conservative Twitch. Because, you know, like how there has to be like your conservative social media pages. You also have to have your conservative Twitch. I love the categories. I got a real kick out of this whenever I pulled it up before I started the stream. The top 3 are news, trending news, which is something entirely different, I guess. Republican politics, and then we get into some weird stuff like who's going on Twitch and clicking podcasts and watching live stream podcasts. And what's the difference between entertainment and entertainment life? We could go to the conspiracies section.
Communism is based.
And then we get into some real stupid stuff down here where there's literally not a single person streaming, like Everyday Heroes.
Because John McCain,
which I suppose there's now a guy with 80 viewers. Patriots behind the mic, number 44, Mad Dog. That's great. Multi-Nanners, thanks for the tier 1. And Matt with a tier 3 gifted to Datus Heck. Hey, Datus Heck in the chat. If you want to get on call, if you're going to be watching this, we can get on call if you want. I don't know if you're free.
Freedom!
Pfizer, thanks for the tier 1.
Freedom!
And Lazog Fries with the primer. Here's some real truthbullet.info type shit. Dude, truthbullet.info gets more and more true every political cycle. I was kind of prophetic with truthbullet.info, I think. Me and Keeler having friends over or making it a drinking game. Oh, you and Keely invited friends over to watch the debate? I'm making it a drinking game, too. Trust me. I just didn't know if you were free right now to do it with me. You know. Let me move chat up slightly. There you go. Doug Burgum will clear. For sure. Creative visuals. Sports bloopers. Also, there's a gaming tab, but also there's, like, tabs for each individual game also. I'm surprised there's no Overwatch 2 streamers on Rumble right now. Episode 3147B. How do you introduce evidence?
And that's the bottom line because John
YouTube
McCain
arrested?
said so.
How is Newsmax not the most viewed Rumble stream? Yo, they got InfoWars on this bitch? Here at TGC, thanks for the sub. Wait, let me, I still have, these saved from the last time it was a presidential election cycle. Here were the Trump-Biden rules. We could probably condense this down a little to fit, but here's some here's a ballpark of kind of what we had last time. So all the stuff that directly talks about Trump, like this, is probably safe to say that's not going to happen. A lot of these don't seem relevant. Yeah, I mean we're gonna make one that's more relevant. I'm just saying this is what we did in 2020. Fox banned Chris Christie from the Spin Room. What is the Spin Room? Sorry. Yeah, I think quote Hunter Biden end quote is still relevant 3 years later, funnily enough. Think anyone else is gonna call Chris Christie a fat pig? Do we have direct insult? This one right here, parenthetical inaudible. I think this is this one has a pretty good
Communism is based.
shot of happening. This one right here, if you guys remember, was the Hail Mary that we hit on last time, where Joe Biden, in fact, told Donald Trump to shut up. That was great. Okay, GOP. Yeah, come on. There we go. Go 12-point Comic Sans. Is Trump not at this one? No, he's not. He's doing a one sip anti-LGBTQ. So let's get some easy ones out of the way real fast. Some dinks and dunks. Maybe a little bit. Direct 14-point font. Direct insults. Transphobia. LGBTQ bash. No, it's just gonna be transphobia. I promise you. Bashing on the gays is no longer cool. Trump bootlicking. Lots of bootlicking. Now that we have more people in here also, mic check? How's my mic? Do I peak? Do I peak at all? Does my mic sound good? Should I adjust it up or down? Okay, it's a good mic. Cool. Yeah, bootlicking Donald Trump is gonna happen all the time, which is hilarious because it's like we're about to witness a competition to be like the next best thing, but they're running against the best thing. So how do you have to meet ride the guy who you're trying to beat? So Biden's open border. Yeah, we could just we drink for racism. That's just gonna be, that one's gonna be easy. The drink of the day. We got some R&R Canadian blended whiskey. Two shots of whiskey. Drink for taxes. Okay, so there, like, drink for taxes, while yes, that would get a lot of play, and like quote unquote climate change, that would get a lot of play. But those aren't fun, are they? You need to be more specific to where it's fun. You can't just like, if you just poll for woke as a sip, I like that one. See that's more of what I'm going for. Like every time they say woke.
Scored cheered. X93. Have batshit conspiracy.
Batshit conspiracy? Do we think any we can put that in the one drink category, maybe? We'll get there. But let's start for the sippers. The easy woke is a good one drink. You think woke goes into the one drink category? Dude, whenever Ron DeSantis starts talking, like, this is going to get, like, he says it multiple times, a sentence. Like, Ukraine should be a sip. We can take one sip for Ukraine. Quote unquote border crisis. I feel like that one's it's gonna be redundant with the racism thing that we already have. Let's call that all right for now. We can always revisit. Calling January 6th brave, etc. should be a drink. Defending J6ers. That could be a drink. Indictment mentioned. Oh yeah. What's a good way to phrase this where we where we talk about like how they're weaponizing the DOJ. That's probably I could just put quote unquote weaponizing the DOJ, honestly. White House Joe Biden crimes. Oh yeah, calling things you don't like socialism. That's a good one. Laptop, yeah, we can still Hunter Biden. That one's we can still reuse that one from last time. You show the old list again quick. So, like, the 1-sips, these are things that happen all the time, no matter what. This was Trump Biden. The 1-drink things that happen, that will probably happen, but infrequently. 2 drinks probably won't happen. And then, finish drink is just Hail Mary's not gonna happen, but imagine.
Freedom!
1-sip, this is a classic. Let's put this one at the top, in fact. Shoot. Eh? One drink is inaudible. Finish drink, Trump WWE introduction could still be applicable for this debate despite his current claim of not attending. Yeah. How do I make it, like, columns like this? Anybody remember how the hell... Oh, it's, like, up here. I have to mess with the margins at the top. Ugh. Such a pain in the ass. Eh? What the hell? Why is my guy over there now? Do I have to, like, highlight the whole thing? Is that it? Yeah. Hey, look at that. Eh. Eh. Okay. A sip for Ronald Reagan. Drink for Nancy Pelosi. I'll take a drink if they say Nancy Pelosi. I feel like she's so yesterday's news. Hunter Biden drink. It's already on there. Format. Honestly, I should have just copied this and then and then changed the bullet points, TBH. You know, it's not too late. I'm gonna copy this. We're gonna pull this over here. Oh. But, I copy formatting. Fuck me. It didn't work. You just copy the file and edit it. Format columns at the top of the screen. Wow, shout out to you. Aha. Aha! We'll make it look pretty at the end. Can we keep quote Abraham Lincoln? Yeah, for sure. Ooh, 2 drinks for swear words. That's good. Explicit racism. Finish your drink for surprise Trump appearance. Transing our kids should be a drink. Hey, I got you covered. It's 1 sip for transphobia. Movie/pop culture reference. Can we add Disney in there? Yeah, we can quote unquote Disney. DeSantis is going to be there. Ooh, another this will be bracketed in the transphobia category, but 1 drink for women's sports. That's my favorite political talking point. Cancel culture? Yeah, we'll put that under woke. For canceled. CRT on there? No. Fentanyl. Okay, 2 drinks, for, wanting to how do I phrase this? I want 2 drinks if one of the candidates calls for someone to be killed. Huh? No, this death threats. The good chance of this happening, specifically within the context of people captured at the border, or Trump has been doing this one for a couple of years, where he's been campaigning for the execution of imprisoned drug dealers. Calling for execution slash death penalty. Finish your drink if the crowd starts chanting, "Lock her up."
Do you smell what Barack is cooking?
God Gamer, thanks for the prime. Fly lands on the head of a participant. What happened to my bullet right here? What the? Whatever. Was it Shift Enter for a page break? No.
And that's the bottom line because John McCain said so.
Anyone take a college course more recently than me? How do I add a Control Enter? That's what I did. Did I do Shift Enter? That's not even what I want. Okay. Whee! I see why I did it the way I did it. Yo, Fuka Friday, thanks for the primer. Overt anti-Semitism? I think that is kind of bracketed within racism.
Communism is based.
2 drinks if DeSantis gets asked about his poll points dropping so much. 2 drinks if the candidates are directly asked how to beat Trump. You know, I mentioned, yeah, we can put that in. I took that one off. We can put it back in. A drink for Vivek doing borderline 9/11 truthism. Yeah, I know what you're referencing. To describe it to everybody else, Vivek Ramaswamy, he's just asking
Very
questions.
special.
Recently on CNN about whether or not there were federal agents on the planes that
Do you smell
hit
what
the
Barack is
towers. He's just asking questions.
We love you. You're very special.
Orb92 with a primer, thanks. King of Diamonds. Subscribe to the tier 1 and an anonymous gifter with gifter to Jayhawks13. Thank you. TikTok mentioned. Candidate takes out a prop. I like that one. It's not unfounded. Candidate uses a prop. The Herschel Walker and his
We love you. You're very
he
special.
pulls out his badge that he made at kindergarten. Joseph Iriath with the tier 1er. Thank you. I think I mentioned all of those subs. Maybe not the 15 minutes ago stick at Ian, yeah? Sorry about missing you. Something about a candidate's age / being too old. Nah. Candidate gets upset over the Super Bowl halftime show? Yay mention? Finish your drink. This one might be kind of dangerous. Abraham Lincoln. And we'll keep this one in. One of them yells, "Freedom!" Shut up. That has to go into Abraham Lincoln. Donation.
92 donated $21.
Yo.
D100 roll.
What?
Stream more PLS frown.
Let's go. Thanks for the 21 fat ones. I appreciate it. It helps me. I took my kitty cat to the vet yesterday. She's been biting and scratching at herself a whole lot. So I was wanting to go get her checked out. We have three cats that live on my back porch. My cat, Yuki, you guys might be familiar. She's been biting and scratching at herself so much. I took her to the vet, get her checked out. Just has fleas, as it turns out, which I think is pretty surprising. I looked on her for fleas, but I didn't see any. But she has a black cat, so it's kind of hard to tell. And I didn't want to run a comb over her because she's like real covered in scabs because she bites and scratches the shit out of herself so much. And she was running a little bit of a fever.
Donation.
Matt96 donated $74.
Holy shit.
D100 for Yuki.
Let's go. And the vet bill was like $66.50. So, yeah, she was running a small fever, so I've been giving her antibiotics. But Abraham, should MLK Jr. be on there? You know, I actually like that one more. Because it would be way more inappropriate. Martin Luther King Jr. Heard we're getting the Trump mugshot tomorrow. Yeah, I saw the Rudy Giuliani one. Alright, we gotta wrap things up. It's almost debate time. Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln. What's another good Finnish drinker? The Constitution says could be a sip. Physical altercation? There's no chance. Vivek does his rap on stage. Dick size contest? You know, there we go. It becomes a literal dick measuring contest. That has happened in the past. It wouldn't be the first time. Going on to 12. Guys become Comic Sans. Yeah. Up here, so organized. Wow. GOP drinking game. GOP debate. Great. Wait, hold on. One more. Twitch.tv/the Deezus. It's banned for copyright infringement. Elon Musk mentioned? And go into the one drink category. Elon Musk. What the fuck they have to say about him? I mean, he's kind of he's been really involved in GOP politics past several years. Dude, I'm sad that Ted Cruz isn't running again. He was a great source of entertainment. Post this one to Twitter. GOP primary debate. Drinking game rules. Play along at home.
Communism is based.
Degenerate Furboy, thanks to tier 1. Any chat buddies yet? No. I was thinking about this the other day, actually. I really didn't like that part of me streaming politics. Not the people coming in here and trying to stir shit, but specifically the chatters who would come in and be like frothing at the mouth, being like, "Yo, has anybody has any right wingers come in here and tried to start talking?"
Special.
Like, just like people frothing at the mouth for the blood sport. I thought that was really annoying. But no, there have not been any chat buddies. Okay, share.
It's just
anyone
a
with the
grotesque
link.
postmodern psyop, and anyone who's fallen
Copy
for
link.
this is brain damaged.
Ten. Yes. Cool. Okay, it should start in 4 minutes. Ah, Kevin McCarthy jump scare. It's GOP. Look, with partners Rumble and Young America's Foundation. 500 service unavailable. This bodes well. Maybe the website will crash and we won't get to watch it. Oh, is it actually? No shot. Am I actually gonna have to go find the YouTube restream of the Rumble's crashed? Oh, hold on. It just took a million years. Okay. Never mind. Not to speak for Dylan, feel free to add your own stuff to your own list. Oh, yeah. I think this drinking game list is pretty solid. That person's laptop that runs Rumble. Now, here's the thing. Will this... You guys see this? Will this just start playing in 2 minutes? Or nah? Oh, hold on, let me time to get the classic. Pull up. Oh yeah.
Do you smell what Barack
All right,
is
man.
cooking?
Well, let me see if my good friends over at Right Side Broadcasting Network on YouTube are restreaming it. Republican debate. What if I just search on YouTube? I was pretty much half expecting this to happen. 167,000 views. 80,000 watching it. Oh, pausers?
Came during an unprecedented year. The country was rife with tension. In the suburbs of Milwaukee, the division seemed deeper than ever. But that was just the beginning. 2 years later, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down Roe versus Wade, leaving the legality of abortion up to the states. In Wisconsin, that meant a nearly total ban. The power
All right,
base
man.
drove Democrats to the polls this year. Now, that new thin liberal majority on the court could have that abortion issue before
liberals.
it again, just as the race for the White House accelerates.
Vivek.
Tonight, the Republican candidates will face off at the home of the Bucks and the Marquette Golden Eagles.
There's a ticker with donors at the top. You're kidding.
To accept the Republican nomination at their
They're going the Twitch streamer method. Start playing the butt rock.
Tonight, the race for the White House takes
Black Rifle
flight.
Coffee
Welcome
Company.
to the first debate of the 2024
There's a brick and mortar
presidential
Black
campaign
Rifle Coffee
live at
Company
Fiserv Forum in Milwaukee.
store in Moore, Oklahoma.
8 Republican candidates have qualified and have chosen to be
Audio
here
check.
on our
How's the
debate
audio?
stage
My
tonight.
voice compared to the
They are here
very
to lay
functioning
out their
Rebel.com
vision
live stream.
for America, the battle as they battle
Audio
for the
check right now,
GOP
everybody. Is it good?
nomination.
Should I change it right now?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum.
And I'm Brett Baer. This is the very same stage on which the Republican choice for president
quiet.
will
I'll turn it
accept
up.
the party's nomination next summer.
2 decibels.
The 8 contenders are positioned
We
by
love
the
you.
order they
You're
sit
very
in the
special.
polls, with the highest polling candidates in the middle,
Slightly louder.
standing center stage. Florida
Sound
Governor
two
Ron
decibels louder.
DeSantis.
DeSanctus. It's DeSambo.
Vivek Ramaswamy.
God, dude, Vivek Ramaswamy, he's always like, he has like Ken face all the time, like Ken doll face. He's just saying,
Haley.
Former New
It's-
Jersey
it's just-
Governor Chris Christie.
South Carolina Senator Tim Scott.
Former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson.
And North Dakota Governor
no cheers. Chris.
Some ground rules for tonight. We'll ask the questions, and then candidates get
We'll
1
ask the
minute
questions.
to answer. If someone is singled out, you get 30 seconds to respond. And when the time runs out, we all will hear this. Very pleasant.
So tonight, these candidates have a big opportunity to break out of the pack and to explain why they are best prepared to be the Republican choice for president. At a time when the likely Democrat nominee, President Joe Biden, is working to convince the country that with Bidenomics, things are looking up.
They call my plan Bidenomics.
I'm going to run ads right
I'm
now.
not sure they meant it in a totally complimentary way at the time. But guess what? It's working.
But
I don't like when Biden does that. I don't
more
like
than
when Biden gets real
65%
close to
of
the mic and
Americans say the
whispers.
country's
He does
headed
it quite
in the wrong
often.
direction. And here's the reality for some voters we talked to here in Wisconsin this week.
We have noticed a dramatic increase in prices at the grocery store just across the board.
Gas is high,
And that's
and
the bottom
food
line.
is high. A lot of
John
people's out here
McCain
homeless
said
because
so.
they can't buy food.
It's tough when you got mortgage rates at
Joe
70%
Biden is
versus 2 to 3.
responsible for
You
homelessness.
can't afford a house anymore.
Inflation is ridiculous. It's killing us out here.
Yo, Skyward Sword with the
We
tier
sit here
1.
tonight.
Matt, thanks for the tier gift.
The
The tier
number
1
one
gifty.
song on the Billboard chart is called Rich Men North of Richmond. It is by a singer from
No
Farmville, Virginia, named Oliver Anthony. His lyrics speak of alienation, of deep frustration.
Frame 1, we're talking Richmond,
with the
north
state
of Richmond.
government
I can't
and
believe
of this
that.
country. Washington, D.C. is about 100
It's number 1 on the
miles
charts,
north
folks.
of Richmond.
Totally grassroots.
Rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows it all. Just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think. Wanna know what you do. And they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed
Whoa, swear words. That's two drinks for swear words already. Whoa, I'm watching this on Fox News. Come on, man.
Communism is based.
Is this song
that one was pre-recorded.
striking such a nerve in this country right now? What do you think it means?
It's not. It's not.
Our country is in decline.
It is astroturfed.
This decline is not inevitable. It's a choice. We need to send Joe Biden back to his basement and reverse American decline.
Back to his basement? What?
And it starts with understanding we must reverse
Rumble.
Bidenomics so that middle-class families have a chance to succeed again. We cannot succeed as a country if you are working hard and you can't afford groceries, a car, or a new home, while Hunter Biden can make hundreds of thousands of dollars on lousy paintings. That is wrong. We also cannot succeed when the Congress spends trillions and trillions of dollars. Those rich men north of Richmond have put us in this situation. And finally, we need to lower your gas prices. We're going to open up all energy production. We will be energy dominant again in this country.
I'm going to personally huff gasoline.
It's just a grotesque postmodern psyop, and anyone who's fallen for this is brain
We will
damaged.
get the job done, and I will not let you down.
Super, I guess. Thanks to Tier 1.
Thank you. Governor Christie, do you agree with Governor DeSantis just said there? And why
Richmond,
would you
north
be
of Richmond, that's
better
good. I
on
hadn't
the
heard that
economy
before.
Than him?
Well, look,
That's,
I do agree predominantly with
quoting
what
the
Governor
song
DeSantis just laid out. I think that if
that
you asked
some-
every one of us up here,
some
that we would
redneck
agree
dickhead
predominantly with
made
what he just
lately.
laid out. Here's the difference. The difference
just-
is that we're going to have to work and make sure
He just plays
that
a banjo
we sell
and
these
does
ideas,
Republican talking points.
and be able to put ourselves in a position where we get a majority of the vote, not only by winning the
Is
Congress
Chris Christie controlled
and the Senate
opposition?
in
What do we think?
2024, but
Do
also
we think he's
by having
sincere in
someone
his
who's had the
attempts?
experience of doing it. Now, I was elected as a conservative Republican in a blue state with 61% of the vote, with a
Wow.
Democratic legislature against me the entire
Very
time.
impressive.
And we still, through hard, strong decision making, brought them around to our point of view. We cut taxes in New Jersey. We cut debt in New Jersey. We made sure that each and every time we were confronted with bad Democratic ideas, we stood and stopped
think
them.
it's fashion- I was
And when
thinking
there
on
were
a
good
private
ideas,
beach
we
with his
brought people
family.
together
Communism
to make
is
progress
based-
going forward. Truth and accountability are the things we need to do to fight waste. And I'd say the last thing is this, Brett. We cannot sit by any longer and allow the kind of spending that's going on in Washington, because every dollar they spend is a dollar that these people are not allowed to spend on their children and their grandchildren. It's robbing our country, and it's wrong.
Well, Governor, let me just follow up very quickly. New
Spending is
Jersey,
bad when the
your
Democrats
governor
do
had
it.
the second
That's my
lowest
favorite.
credit rating in the nation after Illinois, and it was downgraded 11 times.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what happens when you inherit a blue state that has done that. But when you look
Ray
at
Thorne
what we
thinks that
did
Tier
on
1.
debt, Brett, in that state, we cut debt in that state, debt that had been left to us by 3 Democratic gubernatorial predecessors of mine who ran up that debt tremendously. And what you also saw us do was to cut the unemployment
Bring the
rate
soundtrack
in
back.
half. It was over 10% when I became governor in 2010. What we also did was cut pension payments to public employees to make sure that taxpayers were not being soaked by a public employee union system
Ding, ding.
that was killing the taxpayer.
Thank you, Governor.
Tim Scott, Senator Scott, excuse me. The song also goes after welfare programs. As a senator, now President Biden argued for freezing federal spending. This was back in the 80s, and dealing with sacred cows. He does not talk about that anymore. You have been a senator, though, for 10 years. So what have you done to rein in the increasing size of government?
Well, thank you for the question. Over the last several years, I've had an opportunity to vote against spending package after spending package after spending package. What we also need to understand is that Joe Biden's Bidenomics has led to
I love
the
trying
loss
to
of
square the circle
of spending power
of
for the average family.
government
When you see
programs bad.
16%
Don't touch my
inflation,
Medicare, my
your gas is up
Medicaid, or my
40%,
Social Security.
Your food is up 20%.
I will
your
balance these
electricity is up
two things
20%.
simultaneously.
We can stop that by turning the spigot off at Washington, sending the money back to the states, and allowing the decisions to be made at their own houses. I helped write the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017. We cut taxes
for a single mom like the one that raised me by 70%, for dual households by 60%, returning to the average family $4,000. If you don't send it to Washington, we can't spend it. That's good news for the American people.
That's the
Okay, but just to follow up, you did
Watch Spence thanks for the 20.
during the Trump administration.
Too late for Biden
you
honest to be a drink.
approved,
Yes.
4.4 trillion, 4.1 trillion, 1.7 trillion over the course of that administration. That's a lot of money.
There's no doubt that during the Trump administration, when we were dealing with the COVID virus, we spent more money. But here's what happened at the end of our time in the majority. We had low unemployment, record low unemployment, 3.5% for the majority of the population, 70-year low for women. African Americans, Hispanics, and Asians had an all-time low, but our inflation was at 2%. Under Joe Biden, we've seen the exact opposite. We've seen inflation explode, which led to 12 Federal Reserve increases that's devastating home buyers today.
Well, if candidates are 15 minutes or Googling, YouTube, Twitter, etc., there are no live links. How to check Twitch. It's on Rumble.
I don't know if I get a chance to respond.
They're streaming it on Rumble.
But we'll be with you in a second, Mr. Vice President. Mr. Ramaswamy.
They're not putting it on YouTube, Twitter, etc. to fight big tech. It's on Rumble.
More experienced politicians on this stage.
You know what Rumble is?
You're basically, a blank slate for people. You're 38 years old. You've said that you only voted in 2 presidential elections before this moment, this political race.
So first, let me just address a question that is on everybody's mind at home tonight. Who the heck is this skinny guy with a funny last name, and what the heck is he doing in the middle of this debate stage? I'm not a politician, Brett.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
Oh my God, I'm not a politician.
My parents came to this country with no
He's
money
taking the
40
Donald
years
Trump
ago.
route.
I have gone on to found multi-billion-dollar
This guy's like
companies.
a lobster.
I
He's
wife
like a
at
crab
Clover,
person in
raising
a
our
man
2
suit.
sons, following our faith in God. That is the American dream.
Christianity
And I
mentioned.
am genuinely worried that American
drink.
dream will not exist for our 2 sons and their generation unless we do something about it. And I do think Brett is going to take an outsider, because for a long time we have professional politicians in the Republican Party who have been running from something. Now is our moment to start running to something, to our vision of what it means to be an American today. If you have a broken car, you don't turn over the keys to the people who broke it again. You hand it over to a new generation to actually fix the problem. That's why I'm in this race, and we're just getting warmed up.
Wasn't the last our president also an outsider? Well, yeah, that's why I said he's taking the Donald Trump route.
To turn around this economy that we've heard all of these voters talking about.
He didn't touch the question
Then
at
Mr.
all
Ramaswamy,
with his
who is
response.
a successful entrepreneur nationally right now.
That was
he's
Lois
beating you
Griffin
in the
saying
polls.
9/11.
Well, I don't care about polls. What I care about the fact is that no one is telling the American people the truth. The truth is that Biden didn't do this to us. Our Republicans did this to us too. When they passed that $2.2
The call's
trillion
coming
COVID
from inside the
stimulus,
House.
They left us with 90 million people on Medicaid, 42 million people on food stamps. No one has told you how to fix it. I'll tell you how to fix it. They need to stop the spending. They need to stop the
Donald Trump did something
they need
bad?
to eliminate the earmarks that the
Hold on.
Republicans brought back in. And they need to make sure they understand these are
Wait a minute.
taxpayer dollars. It's not their dollars.
Maybe it
And
was
while
that
they're all
maybe it
saying
was that
this, you
bailout
have
package
Ron
where we
DeSantis,
infused all
you've
the
got
money
Tim
into the
Scott,
stock market in
you've got Mike
2020
Pence.
that
They
led to
all
the
voted
inflation.
to raise
Maybe
the debt, and Donald Trump added $8 trillion to our debt, and our kids are never going to forgive us for this. And so at the end of
A
the
bold
day,
move.
you look at the 2024
attacking Trump on
budget,
this stage.
Republicans asked for $7.4 billion in earmarks. Democrats asked for $2.8
Yo,
billion.
she's
So
a.
you tell
We
me
have a
who are the
Democrat
big
plant
spenders.
on the
I think it's
stage
time for
all of
an
a sudden.
accountant in the White House.
Vice President Pence,
Okay.
you were mentioned there. 54% of voters say the cost of groceries.
Nikki
is
Haley is not a
quote,
Democrat,
major
by the
problem
way.
for
Not
them.
even close.
You blamed the Biden administration spending.
She's not going to be
for
vice
that
president
increase.
talking
But
like
as
that.
vice president, your administration spent more than any prior, $7.8 trillion added to the national debt, $3.5 trillion of that before COVID. So does that mean that you're part of the spending problem?
Well, first off, thanks for the question. Thanks for letting me respond.
Where am I?
In reference to our administration's record. I'm incredibly proud of the record of the Trump-Pence administration.
It's my lightning God.
4 short years, we rebuilt our military. We revived our economy. We unleashed American energy. And we appointed 3 conservatives to the Supreme Court that gave the American people a new beginning for the right to life.
The thing, it's funny that he says we.
Martha,
Because
you
you have to
earlier
beat
who's the most
you have to beat your
prepared
boss
for this job. And I must say, with all due respect to all of my friends on the stage, and even to one that's probably looking on, I think unquestionably I am the best prepared, the most tested, the most qualified and proven conservative in this race.
Well, there's
I
a
was
guy who
leader
literally
of
had the job.
Congress of the United States. I led Indiana where we balanced budgets and
This
had a
guy who
AAA
literally
bond
had,
rating
he had the job.
when I was governor. And as Vice President of the United States, we spent funding to backfill on the military cuts of the Obama administration, and then we were there in the worst pandemic in 100 years. All that being said, I was the first person in this race to say that we've got to deal with the long-term national debt issues. You got people on this stage that won't even talk about issues like Social Security and Medicare. I mean, Vivek, you recently said a president can't do everything. Well, I got news for you, Vivek. I've been in the hallway. I've been in the West Wing. A president of the United States has to confront every crisis facing America.
What about the guy who is the president?
Our nation back on the path to growth and prosperity and restore fiscal responsibility, just as I did in Congress and as governor,
Mr. Vice President,
and when I was vice president.
But, I mean, we
hold on. You were
was
named earlier. I'm going to give Vivek first.
We'll get to both of
Yeah, this isn't that complicated, guys.
Guys, come on. This guy's old.
Burn coal, embrace nuclear. Put people back to work by no longer paying them more to stay at home. Reform the U.S. Fed, stabilize the U.S. dollar, and go to war. The only war that I will declare as U.S. president will be the war on the federal administrative state that is the source of those toxic regulations acting like a wet blanket on the economy. So I'm
Regulations
not sure
are bad.
Mike Pence's comment, but I'll let you all parse that out. For me, it's pretty simple. That's something a U.S. president can do with focus, and I'll deliver on
Well,
it.
let me explain it to you. Let me explain it to you, Vivek, if I can. I'll go slower this time.
I sometimes struggle with the reading
Look,
comprehension.
I was a House
Oh, they're riffing. They have
conservative
fun
leader
here.
before it was cool. I actually pushed a Deficit Reduction Act. That was the last time we actually reduced the national debt in the United States when I was the leader of House Conservatives. I balanced budgets and cut taxes when I was governor. I mean, look, Joe Biden has weakened this country at home and
Listen
abroad.
here, Schlick.
Now is not the time for on-the-job training. We don't need to bring in a
I thought
rookie.
he said Ron the job.
People without experience. We need to bring
Oh, if we're talking about on-the-job training,
It's 30 seconds when you have a rebuttal, okay? And you are up, Governor DeSantis.
So here's the thing. Why are we in this mess? Part of it, and a major reason, is because how this federal government handled COVID-19 by locking down this economy. It was a mistake. It should have never happened. And in Florida, we led the country out of lockdown. We kept our state free and open. And I can tell you this, as your president, I will never let
I'm gonna take a sip
the
for
deep state bureaucrats
direct
lock you
insult
down.
for that
You don't take
that
somebody
pincer.
like Fauci and coddle him. You
Fauci?
bring Fauci in, you sit him down, and you say, Anthony, you are fired.
You can't just take Trump's catchphrase.
You know what? We're going to bring in...
I just want to finish responding to Mike. I just want to respond to Mike for 1 second because he invoked me back. Listen, now that everybody's gotten their memorized, pre-prepared
You
slogans
can't
out of the
take
way, we can actually have a real
whenever
discussion now.
you're
The reality of the fact
whenever you're Donald Trump at home, you can't just use his line.
Not really, Mike, actually. We're just going to have some fun tonight. And the reality is, you have a bunch of people, professional politicians, super PAC puppets, following slogans handed over to them by their 400-page super PACs last week. The real choice we face in this primary is this. Do you want a super PAC puppet, or do you want a patriot who speaks the truth? Do you want incremental reform, which is what you're hearing about, or do you want revolution?
Okay.
And I stand on the side of the American Revolution.
We're going to take control back here.
We need everyone to have a moment on the economy.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Can I address the
There are
COVID
two
issue
people
that
who
the
have
governor
not.
brought up?
We're going to get back to that. We are. There are two people who we have not heard from yet. So let's hear from Governor Burgum and then from Governor Hutchinson on the economy, sir.
I'm gonna take a
Great.
drink
Thank you, Martha.
or
And,
inaudible.
Of course, I'm from a town of
For,
300 people. It's a
the-
big
for the
deal
shouting
to make
match.
it on the stage with all these
There.
folks. But
Who? Literally who?
They were all wishing me well, and I think I took them a little too literally when they said go to Milwaukee and break a leg. So, but I do want to say on this, we're missing something. We can't just talk about the Biden economy because the economy, energy, and national security are all tied together. We, of course,
shit,
we're
they
paying too
got
much for our
Jordan
energy
Peterson.
in our state,
That's
in our
him.
country right now. But part of the reason why is because of the Biden policies on energy. We've got a plan right now, the $1.2 trillion of Green New Deal spending buried in the Inflation Creation Act is something that is just subsidizing China. If we're going to stop buying oil from the Middle East and start buying batteries from China, we're just trading OPEC for Sinopec. And then belatedly, the Biden administration says, no, we're going to put sanctions on
I don't know why I didn't.
Well, we put sanctions on Russian oil. Well, then it's 20% off. Who's buying it? China. So if you buy a battery in this country,
I made a late addition to the drinking game rules.
It's being produced in a plant
One
in
sip
China,
for China.
powered by coal, or it's being powered by oil and gas at 20% off. And every farmer in this country would like to buy diesel at 20% off, just like they're buying it in China.
Governor Hutchinson, quickly.
China.
Thank you, Grant. Delighted to be here tonight. And let me just tell you that I'm a pro-life governor from a conservative state.
Come on down to Arkansas.
Conservative record in which I lowered taxes in Arkansas as governor. I created a $2 billion surplus that I passed over to my successor, and I made sure that we shrunk the size of government. We have 14% fewer.
I'm such a little guy. Whenever I got into government, it
after I
immediately
left
shrank.
than when I took over
I'm just
as
so
governor
small.
8 years ago. I tell that because that's what we need in Washington, D.C. We need somebody who can actually constrain the growth of the federal government, that can actually reduce the size. And I've pledged to reduce by 10% our federal non-defense
Required
workforce.
comp sci for
That's
students
a
to graduate?
specific pledge to make that attacks the administrative state. And let me applaud some of the business partners that are here that have had success in business. But let me tell you, I've been a federal prosecutor. I've served our country
That'll make you really popular.
in terms of being head of the
Given the
DEA,
current,
in Homeland
given the current
Security, in times of crisis.
political landscape,
And while
people really
I
like
think
the
that that's
prosecutors
experience
on
that is
the Republican
important
side
for
right
the
now.
future of our country, to be the president of the United States that can lead with positive solutions and be held accountable.
Thank you. We have a lot of topics to get to, and I promise we're going to get to everyone.
I will make
if we
America
play
like
within the
Arkansas
rules.
as a
Okay,
bold
next
game.
topic. More than 1,000 people are still unaccounted for in Maui after the deadliest U.S. wildfire in more than a century. Hawaii's governor and White House officials said that climate change amplified the cost of human error.
30,000 people
And a
unaccounted
tropical
for?
storm hit California for the first time in 84 years.
I knew that that Maui was on
ocean
fire. I
hit
didn't realize it was
101
going to.
degrees off the coast of
I didn't realize it
Florida.
was going
And
to
in
kill
the last
10,000
month, this heat
people.
wave in the Southwest broke records nearly 50 years old.
So Alexander Diaz from Young America's Foundation has a question for you all.
Polls consistently show that young people's #1 issue is climate change. How will you, as both President of the United States and leader
Catholic
of the
University of
Republican Party,
America.
calm their fears that the Republican Party doesn't care about climate change?
So we want to
Well,
start
first
on
of all,
this
it
with,
doesn't
A
exist.
show of hands. Do you believe in human behavior is causing climate change? Raise your hand if you do.
Look, we're not school children. Let's have the debate. I mean, I'm happy to take it to start. Alexander?
So do you want to raise your hand or not?
Let me talk. Give me the
That's way to do
floor.
it. So let me just say to Alexander this. First of all, one of the
Also,
reasons our
Hutchinson on the
country's
far
decline
left
is
started to
because
raise
of
his
the way
hand.
The corporate media treats Republicans versus Democrats. Biden was on the beach while those people were suffering.
Communism
he was
is
asked
based-
about it. He said no comment. Are you
Marsha,
kidding
42,
me?
thanks for the prime.
As somebody that's handled disasters in Florida, you got to be activated. You've got to be there. You've got to be present. You've got to be helping
Ron
people
activated.
who are doing this. And here's the deal.
Let's just answer the question.
So is that a yes or is that a yes?
Shouting match. Inaudible. Take a drink.
There's a hand raised for him, and it's my hands are in my pockets.
No,
because
no,
the
I
climate
didn't
change
raise- I
agenda
didn't
is a
raise a
hoax. Let us be honest as Republicans. I'm the only person on the stage who isn't bought and paid for, so I can say this. The climate change agenda is a hoax. The climate change agenda is a hoax. And we have to declare independence for it. And the reality is, the anti-carbon agenda is the wet blanket on our economy. And so the reality
Second
is,
time you
more
said wet
people are
blanket
dying
on
of
our
bad
economy.
Climate change policies than they are of actual climate
Governor
change.
Haley, are you bought and paid for?
Down by
Hold on.
in the last century.
Listen.
Shout.
Hold on.
I've had enough. I've had enough already tonight of a guy
Tell
who
him, Chris.
sounds like ChatGPT standing up here. And the last person in one of these debates, Brett, who stood in the middle of the stage and said, "What's a skinny guy with an odd last name doing up here?" was Barack Obama, and I'm afraid we're dealing with the same type of amateur standing on stage tonight.
calling him Barack Obama.
And you'll help elect me just like you did to Obama, too. Give me that bear hug, brother.
type of amateur.
Hold on.
Well, I'll take a
Would you like to
like a couple sips for direct insult.
What I would like to say is the fact that I think this is exactly why Margaret
little bit of
Thatcher
racism.
said, if you want something
Yeah, a
said,
little bit.
ask a man.
That's-
If you want something done, ask a woman.
Dude, Vivek's up there. I feel like he's just here to have fun with it.
Clean water. We want to
I feel like he
see that
doesn't give
taken
a
care of.
shit.
But there's a right way to do it. And the right way to do it is, first of all, yes,
Billy said,
is
quote,
climate
funny
change
last
real?
name.
Yes,
He was
it is.
quoting
If you
Vivek
wanna go and
Ramaswamy
really
from the start of the
change
debate.
environment, then we need to start telling China and India that they have to
China.
lower their emissions. That's where our problem is. And these green subsidies that Biden has put in, all he's done is help China because he doesn't understand all these
China.
electric vehicles that he's done, what that does. Half of the batteries for electric vehicles are made in China.
China.
And so that's not helping the environment. You're putting money in China's pocket.
China.
And Biden did that. So first of all, I think we need to acknowledge the truth, which is these subsidies are not working. We also need to take on the international world and say, okay, India and China, you've got to stop
China.
polluting. And that's when we'll start to deal with
Senator
climate
Scott, are you
change.
bought and paid for?
Absolutely.
Are you bought and paid for?
I'm sorry?
Are you bought and paid for?
Absolutely not. I mean, here's what the American people deserve is a debate about the issues that affect their lives. Going back and forth, being childish is not helpful to the American people to decide on the next leader of our country. Number one, wait a second. Number two, as a kid who grew up in a single-parent household mired in poverty, I wondered, was the American dream real for kids who were devastated by poverty, devastated by the challenges of life? I came to the conclusion that America can do for anyone what she's done for me if we focus on restoring hope, creating opportunities, and protecting America.
How do you do that?
If we want the environment to be better, and we all do, the best thing to do is to bring our jobs home from China.
China.
If we create 10 million new jobs in my Made in America plan, we will have a better economy and a better environment. Let me tell you why I say that, Brett.
Bro, you rang the bell. Shut up.
America has cut. I'm a Southern boy. I talk slow. So America. That was quick. America has cut.
Bro, he's really playing the
our
crowd.
Carbon footprint in half in the last 25 years. The places where they are continuing to increase: Africa, 950 million people. India, over 1 billion. China, over 1 billion. Why would we put ourselves at a disadvantage, devastating our own economy? Let's bring our jobs.
We have to burn more fossil fuels to compete with the other guys who are burning a lot of fossil fuels.
Thank you, Senator Scott. So coming up
Whoa,
next,
camera work.
the candidates will weigh in on what could be a
Wow.
defining issue in the 2020
What a barn burner
campaign.
so far.
The first Republican debate continues moments away.
Democracy 24, Republican debate.
We've got to be a lot smarter in how we talk about women and how we show them that we care.
We're going to stand up for the unborn in Washington, D.C. And if you cannot do that, you should not be the nominee.
Yeehaw, partners.
This is a defining moment.
We'll save that one for whenever it
Do you
comes back.
trust our
Holy
government
Jesus
and where
Christ.
the economy is heading? Does the thought of losing your hard-earned retirement savings to with an A+ rating, with a Better Business Bureau, and thousands of happy customers, Birch Gold is the trusted leader in gold. They're busier than ever because people are taking control of their savings away from the government and into their own hands. Text the word NOW to the number 989898 to get a free info kit on gold. There's no pressure and no obligation, just information. So get your no-cost info kit now. Text NOW to 989898.
You can buy
Have you
gold
ever
coins.
wanted Elite Access?
There's no way
the
we got a
Living
gold
Legend membership
coin
card
ad,
is your
man.
opportunity. You'll have access that most won't. Text
That's really
80810
funny.
to get your limited edition card today.
Gear up for debate season. With a GOP foam finger and a Beat Biden tee, you'll be the envy of your watch party. Buy both and save big. Don't wait, supplies
Yeah,
are limited.
buy the foam finger.
We all like free stuff, especially free trips. Text
You'll be the
debate
envy of
to
your watch party.
80810 to enter to win 2 free tickets to a future debate. Plus, we'll throw in free airfare and hotel.
Buy the finger. I cannot in good conscience buy the officially endorsed Republican foam finger.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
Back
of
in my
America.
day, we used to pledge allegiance to the flag and glass. And now all they do is gender fluid.
World Trade Center, we understand that a plane.
Where were you on 9/11? Were you grinding metal in your workshop? So then I became Sam Fisher and I killed 25 Arabs. Oh my god, it was the Black Rifle Coffee Company
Rumble
ad the
has
whole
to be a
time.
place that welcomes everybody, where you feel free to be who you are, where you respect another person's freedom in
Oi,
exchange
Gene.
for your own freedom for being
You
respected.
want to
I
buy? You
believe
want to
that
buy?
ultimately and fundamentally,
What is he selling? What is he selling?
we
What
can
is
do this
Russell
together
Brand selling me?
without top-down authority, that we can regulate democratically our own community. You can be you. I can be me.
Do you
without
want to?
judgment,
You want to
beyond
buy
acceptance,
a
love,
bond?
and enthusiasm for the billions of ways that it's possible to be a human being.
It's Rumble. He's advertising for Rumble. Okay. do you want?
Does the thought of losing your hard-earned retirement savings
you
to
want a
DC's
stream
reckless
without-
spending scare the heck out of you?
Without the
Smart
bloody
Americans are
moderators
taking action by
telling you
texting
that
the
you
word
can't
now
say
to
the N-word.
9898 for a free info kit on gold from Birch Gold Group. For 20 years, Birch Gold has helped concerned Americans protect their future by moving part of an existing IRA or 401k into a physical
You
gold
precious
IRA.
metals.
Text now
Oh,
to
hat off.
989898 now for a free info kit.
You guys see the front of my head right here? I don't know what this is. I've had like a rash or something. Maybe it's like insect bites. I don't know. I live out in the country now, out in rural Oklahoma. I've had like this right up here on the top of me head.
Abortion has been a
Abortion.
issue for Republicans since the Dobbs decision. In 6
Back on.
state referendums, all have upheld abortion rights in this country. And even in red states, there are more swing state referendums that are coming up as we head into the elections as well on this. So, Governor Haley, what do you say to your party
Head off.
and to your
Be
state,
back at your
which
parents'
today
house.
confirmed a
No.
6-week abortion law
Not
as
my grandparents.
well, especially the impact on
And it's not till I get
women
my own
suburban
place.
voters across this country.
I could get my own place
Thank
right
you,
now
Martha.
if I wanted.
I am unapologetically
It is within my financial
pro-life,
means.
not because the Republican
just
Party
choosing
tells
not
me
to
to be,
currently.
but because my husband was adopted and I had trouble having both of my children, so I'm surrounded by blessings.
Topical dermatitis from
Having
hat?
said
I don't wear the hat very
we
often.
need to stop demonizing this issue. This is talking about the fact that unelected justices didn't need to decide something this personal
Get your
because
grandparents
it's
into the
personal
stream.
for
I'm not
every
gonna do
woman
that.
and man. Now it's been put in the hands of the people. That's great. When it comes to a federal ban, let's be honest with the American people and say it will take 60 Senate votes. It will take a majority of the House. So in order to do that, let's find consensus. Can't we all agree that we should ban late-term abortions? Can't we
No,
all agree
not really.
that we should encourage adoptions? Can't we all agree that doctors and nurses who don't
Encourage
believe in abortions
adoptions.
shouldn't have to perform them? Can't we all agree that
Every-
contraception
you
should
know-
be available? And can't we all agree that we are not
Ah,
gonna
you
put
lost me at
women in jail
contraception,
or give her
actually.
the death penalty if she gets an abortion? Let's treat this like a respectful issue that it is, and
Why is she
humanize the
based?
situation
Not really.
and stop demonizing
She said like one thing in that I agreed with, that in fact we should
Governor
wear
DeSantis,
condoms
you signed a
whenever
6-week
we're
abortion
whenever
ban
we're
in
17
Florida.
probably.
One of your biggest financial backers said that you need to, quote, shift to get moderates or you will lose.
Death penalty? Well,
what do you say to him
He
and
said that
others who say
we should not give
politically
women the death
that is
penalty.
a tough thing to
right?
sell nationally?
Well, I would say we sold the biggest election landslide victory in the history of the Republican Party in the state of Florida in 2022. That's what I did. We can win. But second of all, look, you got to do what you think is right. I believe
Oh,
in
she
a
said we
culture of
should?
life. I was proud to sign the heartbeat
Mine have
bill.
two wildly
One of the
different
most
statements.
impactful moments of my life was when I heard the heartbeat of my oldest daughter in my wife's womb, and then saw the sonograms of all 3 of my kids. What the
Probably be a cool
Democrats are
VP.
trying to do
I don't think he's
on
gonna-
this issue is
I don't think that's gonna
wrong
happen.
to allow abortion all the way up to the moment of birth. I know a lady in Florida named Penny. She survived multiple
Real person.
abortion
I bet
attempts.
this is
She
a real
was
person.
left discarded in a pan. Fortunately, her grandmother saved her and brought her to a different hospital. We're better than what the Democrats are selling. We are not going to allow abortion all the way up till birth, and we will hold them accountable for their extremism.
But just to be clear, Governor, would you
Source, I made it up.
federally?
I'm going to stand on the side of life. Look, I understand Wisconsin is going to do it different than Texas. I understand Iowa and
States'
New Hampshire are
rights,
gonna do
folks.
different. But I will support the cause of life as governor. and
Listen,
as president.
guys, Virginia might want to do it a little bit differently than New York, and Pennsylvania might do it a little bit differently than Georgia, but we don't got to go to war about it.
After I gave my life to Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, I opened up the book and I read,
Christianity mentioned.
Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And see, I set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life.
That's why.
And I knew from that moment on,
that's why
the cause of life
masturbation
had
is
to be my
murder.
cause. And I've been a champion for life in the Congress, a champion for life as
All of your
governor
little swimmers
and as
know
vice president.
God.
And to be honest with you, Nikki, you're my friend, but consensus is the opposite of leadership. When the Supreme Court returned this question to the American people, they didn't just send it to the states only. It's not a states-only issue. It's a moral issue. And I promise you, as president of the
And we should
United
litigate
States,
morality.
the American people will have a champion for life in the Oval Office. Can't we have a minimum standard in every state in the nation that says when a baby is capable of feeling pain, an abortion cannot be allowed? A 15-week ban is an idea whose time has come. It's supported by 70% of the American people, but it's going to take unapologetic leadership.
This is actually
leadership that stands on
further to the
principle and
left than
expresses
I would have guessed
compassion
Mike
for
Pence
women
would take.
in crisis pregnancies. I'll do that as president of the United States.
He called my name, so I want to respond to that.
30 seconds.
So first of all,
Babies
I will
can't
say
feel pain
it is
until
in the
age
hands
3.
of
Yeah, that's why
people, and
that's why I
what it should
beat
be.
up
But
my
when
my
you're
little
talking
nephew
about a
who's
federal
still in
ban,
diapers. I
be
just
honest
smack
with
him
the
around
American
pretty
people.
commonly.
We haven't had 45 pro-life senators in over 100 years, so no Republican president can ban abortions any more than a Democrat president could ban all those state laws. Don't make women feel like they have to decide on this issue when you know we don't have 60 Senate votes in the House.
70% of the American people support legislation
But
to ban
70% of
abortion
the
after
Senate
a baby is
does
capable
not.
of experiencing pain. It's just going to take leadership.
Hold on.
70% of the Senate does not. You have to be honest with the American people.
I'm Jewish. How's masturbation
Let's
against
get Governor
Christianity? I
Bergman
don't
for
get the
one
Jesus
minute here.
DLC pack.
So,
I
but the Supreme Court did.
I think it's
overturn
just
Roe v.
kind
Wade.
of
and the result of that decision was that it went
bracketed
back
under.
to states. So that's where it is right now.
It's just like
So,
lust,
as I
I
understand
guess.
it, you are
is
not in
how they
favor of a federal ban. What do you say
How they try to
about
qualify
the
it.
states? There's about 5 of them, including
Which-
New Jersey. I think.
I
a
don't think
few
I think
others,
that's a pretty
that allow abortion
bad
up
faith
until the time of
misinterpretation.
birth, though. If you were president, would you be able to abide that?
Well, first of all, I'm a pro-life governor of a very pro-life state. And this issue is, of course, very important. But I am on the record, and I stand behind that we should not have a federal abortion ban. We should not. And the reason why we shouldn't is very simple. It's
Prop.
the 10th Amendment
Prop.
in the Constitution. In the Constitution, in which the
Bro, bought
states
a prop.
created the federal government, not the other way around, it says
That's
that
2
there were
drinks
certain duties
for
allowed
using
to
a
the federal
prop.
government
He reached into his
delegated to them by the states.
So
The
did he
rest
pull
are
it? Is
left
that
to the states,
a Bible or is that the
importantly,
Constitution?
or to the people? We need
He
to
said
get
he
back
said
to freedom
in
and
the
liberty for
Constitution
people
and
in
held
this
up his little
country.
book, but
And we can't
is that a
have- we can't have
Constitution book?
Republicans who fight for 50 years for this great cause to return it back to the states, and then the next day they turn around and go, no, the feds should do that, because the feds are stepping into people's lives, they're stepping into people's businesses. Over and over, if we say that the Fed should be in on this one, where do we stop?
Too tiny
I
for
say
Bible?
that we
Just the
follow
New Testament, don't worry.
Constitution, and this is returned
In,
to the states. This is where it
6.5.
should be.
But Governor Burgum, you signed a 6-week ban. Time out. You signed a 6-week ban. Governor Burgum, you signed a 6-week ban. So you're saying federally, it's all going to go to the states.
Yes, and what is going to work in New York will never work in North Dakota, and vice versa. That's
Governor
why 50
Asa
states.
Hutchinson,
That's why
right
50 states.
This is too important of an issue that I have to address. First of all, the Supreme Court gave it back to the elected representatives, whether
The very unbiased Supreme
it's the
Court.
states or
Oh,
whether it's the
forgot
United States
soundtrack. My
Congress.
bad.
So there is authority, and that's why President Biden is pushing for a Democrat proposal, which is, in essence, abortion on demand through the term. So they
That sounds
have
pretty
their
lit.
extreme position at a national level.
I should be able to DoorDash my abortion.
It's most likely going to
I
be
think.
addressed in the states, but it's certainly fine for it to be addressed at the national level as well. Arkansas has the record of being the most pro-life state in the nation. I signed 30 pro-life pieces of legislation while I was governor. And every state can determine a different outcome here. And it is the most important issue for women and for the unborn child and for our country that we get this right. It's going to be a continued debate. Let's talk about it in terms of compassion, in terms of protecting
I love
the
this
life,
where they're like,
and also understanding
we can have
how
a debate
have
about
to
this
enhance,
going forward.
Abortion,
God,
adoption
that's what
services,
we're doing
how
right
we
now.
have to enhance maternal care. Those things we've done in Arkansas and are important for our nation's future.
There are a lot of issues that are very important. Senator, I'll let you weigh in.
We cannot let states like California, New York,
I hate
and
those
Illinois
places.
have abortions
Those stupid
on
guy.
demand up until the day of birth. That is immoral. It is unethical. It is wrong.
Those stupid
We
liberals
must
in
have
California
a
are
president
killing all
the
of their
United
babies.
States
That's why they
who
don't
will
have any
advocate
people.
and fight for at the minimum a 15-week limit. I am 100% pro-life conservative. I have a 100% pro-life record. I got to tell you, though, we must fight for life. Our Declaration of Independence
States' rights is to it's
says our
fuck them.
Creator gave us inalienable rights that include life. That is a list. That is an issue we must solve. We can't leave it to Illinois. We can't leave it to Minnesota. We can't leave it to Illinois.
Well, if you
We
have
must
the
solve
right
that
to
issue
life
with a
whenever you're a
15-week
fetus, then
limit
you
at
should
a
also
minimum.
have the right to purchase a firearm.
Pro-life, but what I would love
Why do you
is
have
for
to be
someone
18 to
ask
buy a
Biden
gun?
and Kamala Harris, are they for 38 weeks? Are they for 39 weeks? Are they for 40 weeks? Because that's what the media needs to be asking.
All right, another issue is America and the crime crisis, the homelessness crisis. American cities are in decline. People are moving out as homelessness, drugs, crime move in. There are problems
It's true.
accelerated. They
On
did
crime.
accelerate during the
I'm
pandemic
moving in.
and are still rising, actually.
Murders in Los Angeles, New York,
Here's some B-roll of
Chicago,
some-
all
some-
up 30% between 2019 and
Some-
2022.
here's a homeless guy in LA.
Homelessness is up
See, it's
11%,
bad.
the largest jump in recorded history. Vice President Pence, a lot of this began in the COVID era.
You're very
How
special.
much of what we're seeing
Here's this
happening
new
around
problem that
this
we're facing
country
suddenly, thanks to
is a
Joe
result
Brandon.
of those
It's
COVID
homelessness in
lockdowns,
New York
and
City,
Is your administration in part to blame?
and definitely
for
not
how we got
anywhere else.
Well, I think what's in part to blame is the Democrats have been talking about defunding the police for the last 5 years. And we ought to be funding law enforcement, particularly in our major
What
cities.
does this have to do with anything?
At unprecedented levels. I mean, it's extraordinary to think about the violence that's claiming innocent lives literally every week in every major city in this country. And yet Democrats and liberal prosecutors in major metropolitan areas continue to work out their fanciful agendas, to do bail reform and go easy. What we need is strong commitment to law enforcement.
I'm drinking
We
for
need
internal
leadership
sense of
in
dread on this
Washington,
one.
D.C. that'll marshal the resources of the states, marshal the resources of the American people. But let me also say it's about opportunity. I mean, a lot of people don't know that those
kinda
Trump
just
Pence
like-
tax cuts that we got signed
Kinda
into
just a free
law
pass
go
whenever Mike
away
Pence is speaking.
at the end of 2025 if we don't have a Republican president and a Republican House and a Republican Senate. When I'm president of the United States, we're actually going to cut taxes further. We're going to extend those
No
tax
taxes at
cuts,
all. A
and
tax-free
we're gonna
state whenever I'm
close the
president.
Federal Department of Education, block grant all that funding back to the states with a growing economy and educational choice and law enforcement. We will bring our cities back.
Governor Christie,
The names are still
another
looping.
issue.
Oh,
This weekend,
is this
here in
all of
Milwaukee,
the donors?
reports
Is
say
there like
were
nobody
30
giving anything?
shootings, and a number of them including kids. Add that to the big increase in school shootings around the country. Democrats blame this crisis on easy access to guns. They also blame Republicans for blocking
how are we going to
gun
stop
control
the kids from
legislation.
being killed?
What would President Christie do?
You know, I'm
President
proud of the
Christie.
fact, Brett, that I'm the only person, along with Governor Hutchinson, up on this stage who's actually running United States Attorney's Office. I ran the 5th largest office in America in a state where there is significant urban crime. And the problem is not going to be solved by more money. The problem is that these prosecutors
it's about the
in
culture.
these localities in the states are refusing to do their job and to arrest violent criminals. So what a President Christie would do is appoint an attorney general.
That's going to stop
who
school
would
shootings?
Instruct each of the 93 U.S. attorneys that they are to take over the prosecution of violent crime in every one of those cities that are failing to do so. We have plenty of room in the federal prisons to lock up these violent criminals and clean up what's going on all across this country in these individual cities. Secondly, what we need to make sure that each and every one of these criminals understand is that the laws apply to everybody. And when Hunter Biden fills out a fake application.
What does this have to do with anything?
Application for a,
Hunter
for a
Biden's
gun
killing your
permit,
kids.
and then is facing a 10-year mandatory minimum.
Brink?
Which
Rumble's a good it's a good streaming service, guys.
was mandated by legislation sponsored by his father. And then you have a Justice Department that walks away from those charges. We're telling people that the law doesn't apply to everybody. In a Christie administration, he would go to jail for 10 years.
What about a President Ramaswamy? What does a President Ramaswamy do about
give
guns?
Joker the floor
So the
again.
reality is we have a crime wave in this country and we know how to fix it. The question is, do we actually have the spine to do it? More cops in the streets who are on the streets able to do their jobs without looking over
More
their shoulder
cops.
for getting sued. And
More
we also have
cops,
a
no
mental
body
health
cams.
epidemic in this country. Just over the same period that we have closed mental health institutions, we have seen a spike in violent crime. Do we have the spine to bring them back? I think we should. As president, I will. But it's not just drugging up people in those psychiatric institutions with Zoloft and Seroquel. It's a deeper issue. I think faith-based approaches can play a role here too.
We have to give them
We're in
God.
the middle of a national identity crisis, and I say this
If
as
you
a
have-
member
if you
of my
have
generation. The problem in our country
Crippling
right now,
schizophrenia,
the reason
we
have
need
that
to
mental
give you
health
Jesus.
epidemic is that people are so hungry for purpose and meaning at a time when family, faith, patriotism,
Christianity
hard work
mentioned
have all
drink.
disappeared. What we really need is a tonal reset from the top, saying that this is what it means to be an American. Yes, we will stand for the rule of law. Yes, we will close the southern border where criminals are coming in every day. And yes, we will back law enforcement
Racism.
because we remember who we
Yo,
really are.
what does this have to do with
And that's
the
also
with
how
kids
we
being
address
killed by
that
guns
mental health
at
epidemic
schools?
in the next generation that is directly leading to violent crime
Can I
across
speak
this
on behalf
country?
of
Governor DeSantis, really quickly. Governor DeSantis.
We don't have
I'm the American people. Please speak on behalf of me.
We're not looking for a new national identity. The American people are the most faith-filled, freedom-loving, idealistic, hardworking people the world has ever known. We just need government as good as our people.
You guys
Mike,
are
I think the
awesome.
difference
You
is
guys are
might
so
have,
cool.
Some others like you may have on the stage, it's Morning in America speech. It is not Morning in America. We live in a dark moment, and we have to confront the fact that we're in an internal, sort of cold cultural civil
You
war.
are
And we have to
equating the
recognize
American
that in
people
order
with the
to actually
failed
win.
government in Washington, D.C. We just need government as good as our people again.
So, let me just finish addressing that slogan because I don't know what that slogan means. We need to shut down the administrative state.
These two need to get in the ring, I think. They're gonna throw hands by the end of the night. Vivek and Mike Pence, mano a mano.
At a 50-year low in Florida.
Parenthetical inaudible. Yeah, good call.
Well, the statewide, it's a 50-year low. And so here's the thing. These hollowed out cities, this is a symptom of America's decline. And one of the biggest
Fill in
reasons
for Musk
is you have
Zuck.
George Soros funding
Soros.
these radical left-wing district attorneys. They get into
So- the
office and they
Soros
say they're not gonna
attorneys.
prosecute crimes they disagree with. The inmates start running the asylum. There's one guy in this entire country that's ever done anything about that. Me. When we had two of these
I will
district
fight
attorneys in
George
Florida
Soros personally.
elected with Soros funding who said they wouldn't do their job, I removed them from their posts. They are gone. And as president,
Camera desync?
as president, we are going to go after all of these people because they are hurting the quality of life and they are victimizing innocent people in every corner of this country, and it will stop when I get into office.
Okay, one more here before the break.
Okay, Rhonda.
Brett and Martha, I just thought it was interesting. You asked your question about the problems we're having in big cities. Nobody ever asked the question of what about the crime wave in small towns? Because in a small town, neighbors help neighbors. People understand each other. If a farmer gets sick, everybody comes together and helps him get the crop off. There's accountability. There's transparency.
It's not necessarily
One thing
true.
that I think this country could use is somebody in the White House that understands small town values, because that's our road back to get this country on track again.
Governor Hutchinson?
Small towns have
As
awful
former
crime
head of
rates.
the
Well, the
DEA,
crime rates
I
are lower
understand the
because
drug
there's less
crisis in
police.
America. And right now,
It's
whenever
literally
you look
impossible
at
to
the
do crime
challenges in our
if there's no
inner
cops.
city, there's 3 simple words that would be helpful.
Statistically.
One, enforce the law when it comes to
If there's no
crime.
cops, you can't do crime.
Secondly, let's deal with the challenge of fentanyl. And it's both about stopping the fentanyl coming from Mexico, but it's also about education of our young
Fentanyl.
people, making sure that we have the tools that are needed for addiction counseling. That's what we expanded in Arkansas as well. Whenever
This
you look
this
at
question
the
was about
underlying
school
challenge of
shootings
America, though,
originally.
No one likes to see an America with smash and grab in our inner cities. As President of the United States, that will stop. It starts at the top with the respect for our justice system that a former president who's under indictment has undermined by attacking judges, by attacking prosecutors, by attacking the system and saying he's aggrieved. And so we have to have
Didn't want to
respect
talk
for our
about it.
justice system and the rule
I'm just
going
gonna
to
talk about something
and it
else.
starts at the top with the President of the United States.
Thank you.
We're
Hold
gonna
on.
take a break. So, speaking of that, right now you are looking live at Fulton County Jail, where former President Donald Trump will be processed tomorrow. So next, the candidates
Here comes
will
the
have an
Trump
opportunity
bootlicking section.
to talk about the coming trials of Donald Trump.
All right, man. Ooh, what a cliffhanger. Show me those ads. They were great the last time. I hope we get the same block of 4 ads. I like how we have like a live feed
Do
of
you
it.
trust our government and where
there
the
it is.
economy is
as
heading?
though like
Does
the
thought of losing
motorcade's
your
gonna be
hard-earned
rolling up with
retirement
Trump in it
savings
any
to
second
DC's
now.
reckless spending scare the heck out of you? Well, you're not alone. Smart Americans are taking action while they still can by reaching out to Birch Gold Group. For over 20 years, Birch Gold has helped concerned Americans protect their futures.
It will be the same.
by moving
How
part
did
of an
I just?
existing IRA
I
or
knew it would be the
401k
same block of
into a
ads.
physical gold IRA. Because when
Will it
things
be
are a
the
mess,
same
like
4
right
ads
now,
in order? What was the
Americans
next one
turn to
after
gold.
this?
With
Anybody?
an A+ rating, with a
Anybody
Better
remember?
Business Bureau, and
It's just a
thousands of happy
grotesque
customers.
postmodern psyop
Birch Gold
made
is
with
the
phones for
trusted
brain
leader in
damage.
gold. They're busier than ever.
9/11?
Because people are taking control of their
Oh
savings
yeah, it was
away from the
it was
government
the Black
and into
Rifle
their
Coffee
own
Company
hands. Text the
9/11
link now
ad.
to the number 989898 to get a free info kit on gold.
Biped, thanks
There's
for the
no pressure
primer.
and no obligation, just information. So get your no-cost info kit now. Text now to 989898.
Rumble has to be a place that welcomes
Rumble, I'm
everybody,
Russell
where you
Brand.
feel free to be who you are, where you respect another person's freedom in exchange for
Why-
your
why is
own
Russell
freedom
Brand
for being
black and white?
respected. I believe that ultimately and fundamentally we can do this together without top-down authority, that we can regulate
Top-down
democratically
authority.
our own community. You can be you, I can be me, without judgment, beyond acceptance, love, and enthusiasm for the billions of ways that it's possible to be a
I
human
forgot
being.
Sarah Marshall and remembered American values. American value knower Russell Brand.
When Republicans vote early, we win.
You can bank your vote by casting your ballot before election day.
RNC chair lady.
In person or by mail.
Go to bankyourvote.com
Yeah,
to sign
Donald
up
Trump
and
appearance.
commit to voting early.
That's how we're going to beat the Democrats at their own
They got him to
game.
agree to
Go
that? That's crazy.
bankyourvote.com.
And please take the pledge to bank your vote to beat Biden.
The Tedster. Finish your drink. That doesn't count. He has to go to. He can't just be in an ad cut. He has to show up to. He has to show up to the debate. I thought they didn't like early voting. Well, that's not a good strategy whenever you tell people not to vote. You see. That's straight coffee. That's not none of that gay Seattle crap.
Former Navy SEAL platoon commander. I want to introduce you
to the Patriot Power Generator 2000X.
Yo,
Use the
Patriot
endless free power of the
generator.
sun to power lights, your TV, medical equipment.
Wait, hold
even
on.
when you're
Solar
free.
power?
And that's without
Nah,
gas, fumes,
no,
or
nope.
noise. Go to 4patriots.com.
Nope.
You'll get a solar
No,
panel
sirree.
included free.
That's too
This is
green.
about peace of mind. Get your solar generator and free panel at
It's
4patriots.com.
Patriot green energy. Yo, that's how we
I'm
get them.
Rumble. And I'm YouTube.
YouTube, why are you dressed like that?
Well, I've been seeing a lot of violations in the community lately, so I'm enforcing that.
You mean like people not following your policies?
Strike one!
What if someone tells the truth, but it's labeled as misinformation?
Strike two!
Wow, what if I want to ask questions and have different opinions on things?
Strike three! You're out of here!
Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm just speaking my opinion and having a difference of opinion on things, and they called me anti-Semitic. Okay.
$98.98 for a free info kit on gold from Birch Gold Group. For 20 years, Birch Gold has helped concerned Americans protect their future by moving part of an existing IRA or 401k into a physical gold IRA. Text now to 989898 now for a free info kit.
So, like, if you weren't here earlier, whenever we were browsing Rumble, InfoWars is literally live streaming on Rumble. Bueller, is this thing on?
Second hour of this GOP primary debate, policy discussions the Americans want to hear you all on. China, Ukraine, immigration, education. But we are going to take a brief moment and talk about the elephant not in the room.
InfoWars networks or restreams. I don't know if it's official, but regardless.
On 91 counts, he will be
Yo, Dallas Cowboys star.
at the Fulton County Jail
It's
for
just a
charges
Cowboys
relating
star.
to the 2020 election loss.
You all signed a pledge to support the eventual Republican nominee. If former President Trump is convicted in a court of law, would you still support him as your party's choice? Please raise your hand if you would.
Are we gonna raise our hand all of a sudden? I like how some of them were just like kind of waiting to like play the crowd and be like, oh, I don't know, what's Ron gonna say?
You were kind of late to the game there, but you raised your hand.
No, I'm doing this. Look, I'm
You're
doing
like,
this.
me, I guess. I don't know.
Look, here's the bottom line. Someone's got to stop normalizing this conduct. Okay? Now,
boo, fuck you, Trump's awesome.
Whether or not you believe that the criminal charges are right or wrong, the conduct is beneath the office of President of the United States.
So I was streaming politics at the time pretty commonly. Whenever Trump was crying about the stolen election.
This is the great thing about this country.
And I said
Booing
at the time there was
allowed,
absolutely
but it
no
doesn't
chance
change the truth.
in hell that he would ever see jail time or be convicted for the obviously illegal stuff that he was doing.
Let's just speak the truth.
So color
okay?
me surprised.
President Trump,
I didn't think it would
believe,
happen.
Was the best president of the 21st century. It's a fact. And Chris Christie, honest to God, your claim that Donald Trump is motivated by vengeance and grievance would be a lot more credible if your entire campaign were not based on vengeance and grievance against one man.
Donald Trump bootlicking, that's a drink. It's a sip.
Donald Trump without an iota of vision for this country. They could just change the channel to MSNBC right now. But I'm not running for president of MSNBC. I am running for president of the United States. We're skating on thin ice, and we cannot set a precedent where the party in power uses police force to indict its political opponents. It is wrong. We have to end the weaponization of justice in this country.
30 seconds, Governor DeSantis.
Look, let me tell you
No, I'm sorry. 30 seconds, Governor
You
Christie.
make me laugh because you sit here in an answer. You sit here
Dude.
in an answer.
The crowd hates Chris Christie. They love the little jokester.
You sit here in an answer.
Go ahead, Governor Christie.
Dude, he's stun locked. He's getting corner comboed.
So listen, The more time we spend doing this, the less time they can talk about issues you want to talk about. So let's just get through this section.
I can't believe we have to tell the crowd to shut the hell up.
You sit here talking about how you want to stand up for the rule of law.
Yes.
And law and order. And the fact is that it can't be selective. In your book, you had much different things to say about Donald Trump than you're saying here tonight.
That's not true.
Well, it is very true.
That is not
Shut up.
True. I
Fuck
read
you.
it, and
Because
I
there's a
know.
difference
Look,
between bad behavior and illegal behavior, Chris. And you as a prosecutor should know better.
Inaudible.
I know a lot
There's
better.
a difference between bad behavior. And
I know a lot better than you do. You've never done it like you've never done anything
God.
to try to
I think Chris
advance
Christie is
the
about to start
interests of
crying.
this government except to put yourself forward as a candidate tonight. And here's the thing. We've stood up for law and order. I did it as U.S. attorney. I did it as governor. And I am not going to bow to
Jeb,
anyone
too.
when we have a
It's
president of the United
Republican
States
Jeb.
who disrespects the Constitution. He said,
your MSNBC contributor.
he said,
These are politicized indictments, and we have to call out the truth.
Martha, it's important to say that the president said.
Actually,
Donald Trump
I'm trying to
said
remember.
It's okay to suspend the Constitution.
Did Jeb run as a
Now,
Republican or
the
did he
oath
run
you
as
take
independent?
Is to preserve, protect, and defend.
I thought he ran as
not
independent on the
suspend.
Republican ticket,
will
but I could be
always stand up
mistaken.
for our Constitution, regardless of the political pressure.
We have another question for you. We're going to get everyone in on this issue, but I have another question. I have another question. Hold on, you will. All right,
I know his whole
so
shtick was like, I'm the centrist
President
one.
Trump's former
He just got laughed
vice
at.
president is on this stage tonight. He has faced hecklers on the campaign trail over his actions on January the 6th. On that day, the vice president moved forward with the certification of the election.
Ooh, here comes the defending
So do you
J6ers
believe
section.
That Mike Pence did the right thing, Senator Scott. Do you believe he did the right thing?
Absolutely. He did the right thing. Number one. Number two, we should be asking
Anyone not named Trump or
ourselves
DeSantis stand a chance to get past the
bigger
primary? I think
question
at this point,
about the
it's
weaponization
Trump no
of
matter
the
what.
Department of Justice. When I'm president,
I
the
think
first
he
thing
would
I'll
have
do
to
is
literally
fire
be
Merrick
arrested
Garland.
and in jail
Second thing I'll do,
to not
fire
win.
Christopher Wray, because
Which is
we
a possibility,
need
so.
justice to wear a blindfold.
And even then, I don't know. Maybe he
Without
runs from
that,
prison.
No one has confidence in our justice system. 17% of Republicans have confidence in our Department of Justice. Here's why. We keep seeing not only the weaponization of the Department of Justice against political opponents, but
He is
also
arrested but will not
against
face jail
parents
time.
who
Yeah, it's like a
show up at
$200K
school board
bond.
meetings. They're called,
That's why I said he has to be
DOJ,
arrested and in
they're
jail,
called domestic
which I don't think will
terrorists.
happen.
Firing Christopher
But that's not.
Wray
But that's not.
shut down the FBI.
Mr.
Actually, courage to get it right.
Mr. Ramaswamy.
Let me finish my
Weaponization
comments.
of the DOJ.
Not only that, in addition to that, we see the SWAT team show up at
Ready for the Aziz
pro-life
Ansari as
activists'
Ramaswamy
homes
SNL skit.
with guns drawn because this DOJ uses their power, uses their authority, not just against political opponents, but against conservatives and conservative causes. It is time for a change in America, and I will bring that change to the greatest nation on God's green earth.
He put on his presidential voice
Mike Pence
suddenly.
did the right thing on January 6th.
So here's what we need to do. We need to end the weaponization of these federal agents.
But that's
And
not
I
the
will do
The
that.
weaponization of the
I know,
DOJ.
but here's the thing.
gonna answer the
This
question?
election is not about January 6th of 2021. It's about January 20th of 2025 when the next president is going to take office.
I'm calling this
I know
defending
what the
J6ers
Democrats
from
would like to
Rhonda.
do. They want to talk about all these other issues.
I'm taking
but
a drink.
We've got to focus on your future. We've got to focus on reversing the decline of our country. I learned in the military, I was assigned with U.S. Navy SEALs in Iraq, that you focus on the mission above all else. You can't get distracted. So Republicans, we've got to look forward, and we've got to make sure that we're bringing the message that can win in November.
Forget about it. January 6th, forget about it. Me. Let's turn the music back on.
To support and defend the Constitution of the United States. I think the American people deserve to know whether everyone on this stage agrees that I kept my oath to the Constitution that day. There's no more important duty. So answer the question.
The funny thing about this is that Mike Pence, he didn't talk about it for years.
But here's the thing. Is this what we're going to be focusing on
I'm relieved.
going forward? The rehashing of this? I'll tell you.
Governor
Guys,
DeSantis
get over it. It's in the
Love
past. Come on.
I'm not letting Biden hang out in the basement this time. We're going to run him ragged around
like he didn't know like what the RNC wanted him to say, so he just didn't say anything. And now all of a sudden he's like, I was in the right. Nearly inaudible. I'll take that as a shouting match. Dude, I love Rumble. Ooh-wee.
It is a factor in the GOP primary. Governor Hutchinson, you did not raise your hand.
I did not raise my hand because there's an important issue we as a party have
I almost
to
threw my
face.
second drink.
And over a year ago,
Not like
I
that.
said that Donald Trump was morally disqualified from being president again as a result of what happened on January 6th.
Boo, fuck you, January 6th was awesome.
Including conservative legal scholars who says he may be disqualified under the 14th Amendment from being president again as a result of the insurrection. This is something that
He called it an insurrection. See you later, buddy. You're not invited back.
Under the Constitution. And so, obviously, I'm not going to support somebody who's been convicted of a serious felony or who is disqualified under our Constitution, and that's consistent with RNC rules. And I hope everybody
He fell into the insta-kill. He fell into the trap.
Martha, can I answer the question?
Can I get in on this?
Okay, I'd like to.
Yo, let me in on this one.
I've already been on it, Vice President Pence.
All right, I'd like to answer the question you asked and not give a pre-canned speech. Mike Pence stood for the Constitution, and he deserves not grudging credit. He deserves our thanks as Americans for putting his oath of office.
He's cooler
and the
than me.
Constitution of the United States before personal, political.
Is he a
and
jobber?
unfair
Is Chris
pressure.
Christie jobbing right
And
now?
The argument that we need to have in this party before
Is
we
he a
can
paid
move on
actor?
to the issues that Ron talked about is we have to dispense with the person who said that we need to suspend the Constitution to put forward his political career. Mike Pence said no, and he deserves credit for it.
Okay.
Okay. That's all right. It's a tag team match, I guess.
Did the right thing that day or not?
Your bro's
I do
playing for a
think that
second.
Vice President Pence did the right thing, and I do think that we need to give him credit for that. But what I will also tell you is, look, I mean,
He wants that cabinet
when it
position.
comes to
Yeah,
whether
he's
President Trump
playing
should
for
serve or
he's
not,
playing
I
for
trust the
Secretary of the
American
Defense
people.
right
Let
now,
them
or
vote.
something
Let them
like that.
decide. But what they will tell you is that it is time for a new generational conservative leader. We have to look at the fact
Generational,
that
wasn't it?
3/4 of Americans don't want a rematch between Trump and Biden, and we have to face the fact
I
that
do.
Trump
That's
is
what
the
I
most
want.
disliked politician
That's
in
my
America.
ideal world.
We can't win a general election that way.
I mean, you're not. I think the Republicans stand no chance. I think right now there's just no chance. It's going to be Biden by a landslide. Is my prediction for 2024.
Saying we're going to talk about China, Ukraine, education.
We
are. China is the number one threat to our country, and every minute that these 8 candidates spend talking about the past instead about the future is time that is just you know who loves it? Biden loves it, but
You see
China
that?
loves it when we're talking about the
What's
past.
that?
Okay, as promised, we were going to spend a few
bringing up the
questions on
timer?
it, let people say what they wanted to say.
That wasn't
and
me,
now, indeed, we are
by the
moving on
way.
to the subject
The
of
U.S. has committed nearly 77.
Can I speak on this issue? I was
You
kind of
did
involved.
you answered on this.
You did say
answer.
something.
Yeah.
We thought you were done, but you
No, I
please.
wasn't done.
Well, Mike, why don't you say this? Join me in making a commitment. That
Oh,
on day
Vivek,
one you
get
would
in there.
pardon Donald Trump. I'm the only candidate on the stage who had the courage to actually say it.
Isn't any government position over age 50 should be replaced? No, that's fucking stupid.
Page forward. That's exactly right.
That's a fucking. That's a absolutely astronomically stupid opinion.
System that was this
Vivek, here's
corrupt.
the difference between you and me.
Yeah, I'm not a professional
I've actually-
politician. That's the
I've
difference. Who can
actually,
answer a question?
I've actually given pardons when I was governor of the state of Indiana. It usually follows a finding of guilt and contrition by the individual that's been convicted. So, look, if I'm president of the United States,
Vivek
we'll give
and
fair
Pence
consideration to
beef.
the pardon request. But if I may, you know, it's not about looking back at January 2021. It's about January 20th, 2017. I put my left hand on Ronald Reagan's Bible. I raised my right hand.
Oh, Ronald
And
Reagan.
I took an oath.
Yeah, I put it on.
to support
I
and
put it on
defend
the Reagan
Constitution of
Bible.
the United States, and it ended with a prayer. So help me God. It was a promise that I made to the American people, but
This
I also
is-
made it. It made it to my heavenly Father.
We are
Every
wasting
day
time.
for 4 years, I sought to keep that oath. And everyone on this stage needs to make
Dude,
it clear.
speaking
whether
to
or
his
not they'll do the
credentials
same
as Vice President of the
if
United
they earn this
States,
job and the
whenever you're
confidence of
running
the
against the
American
guy who is literally your president,
Look, I've made it clear.
I
had
think is a
hoped that the issues
I've been
surrounding
ever since Pence
the
announced.
2020 election
I've been
and
of the
controversies
opinion
around
that Pence is
January 6th
jobbing.
have not come to
Pence
this,
is
have not
jobbing
come
for
to criminal
Trump.
proceedings. I would rather they had been resolved.
I think he has
by
no
the
other
American
reason to run
people
because he's not going to beat the guy
and
who he
American
served
people
under.
alone. But no
I
one's
think
above
he's
the
there to
law,
pull votes
and
away from
President
the other
Trump is
candidates to
entitled
make
the presumption of
Trump's
innocence that
rise
every
to the
American
obvious
is entitled to,
primary
and we will
victor
make sure
that
and
much
extend
easier.
that to him. But the American people deserve to know that the president asked
I think
me
Pence is there to make it harder for
in his
Rhonda to
request that
win.
I reject or return votes unilaterally, power that no vice
I
president
don't think
in
so. He
American
burned too many
history had ever
bridges. Well,
exercised
yeah,
or taken.
but he's not going
He
to. I
asked
don't
me to
think
put him over
Pence.
the Constitution.
Like no one on the
And,
Pence
I
campaign thinks
chose
that he's
the
going to beat Trump.
Constitution, and I always
And
will.
strategically,
I had no
from the
right to
Republican
overturn the
standpoint,
election,
it makes
and
Trump's
Kamala Harris
victory
will have no
way
right
easier.
to overturn the election when we beat them in 2024.
Thank you, Vice President Pence. Now we are moving on to other
It's
issues.
running. He might have a very slim shot if Trump's
The
in
U.S.
jail.
has committed nearly $77 billion in
Probably
aid
not.
to the Ukraine war.
Trump has a
administration is
big
now asking
base, and
Congress
Trump
for
literally
$24
like
billion
demonized him.
more. Regardless of that, the specifics of that plan, is there anyone on stage who would not support the increase of more funding to Ukraine?
Ukraine.
We would not support it.
Europe needs to step up. I mean, I would have Europe step up and do their job.
Mr. Ramaswamy.
I like how because this happened under the Biden administration, all of a sudden we're like, oh, we shouldn't fight war against Russia. That's bad.
Right now, they're not doing that.
Not
And I think we need to do.
Actually, we should let Russia do imperialism. I
them
think.
doing it. And I would have support in China to be able to.
Ukraine's a
take
sip.
up, to be able to
We
take
put that on
China,
there.
and
It
do what
is.
We need to do with
Uh-oh.
China.
Mr. Ramaswamy, you would not support an increase of funding to Ukraine?
I would not. And I think that this is disastrous, that we are protecting against
Ukraine is, in fact, a
invasion
sip.
across somebody else's border when we should use those same military resources to prevent across the invasion of our own southern border here in the United States of America. We are driving Russia further
Dude.
into China's hands.
The take of
alliance is the single greatest threat we face.
What the whataboutism whenever it comes to
on the stage that will make a pilgrimage
Mexican
to
immigration
their
when
Pope,
speaking to the war in
Zelensky, without doing
Ukraine,
the
I
same
think it's
thing
just
for
so
people in
pants on
Maui
head.
or the south side of Chicago or Kensington. I think that we have to put the interests of Americans first. Secure our own border instead of somebody else's. And the reality is, this is also
I'm
how
out of
we
drink.
project strength by
I would
making
have to stand up
America
to go to
strong.
the fridge to get more.
Governor Christie first.
All right.
But I don't want to. I don't want to
did
miss
go
it.
to Ukraine, and
What
I
do I
went to
do?
Ukraine because I wanted to see for myself what Vladimir Putin's army was doing to the free Ukrainian people. And let me tell you, I want you all to look
Thank him
around
for the
this arena
break.
tonight.
I guess so.
And imagine that every one of these seats was filled. And if every one of them was filled, there would still be 2,500 more children outside to make over 20,000 who have been abducted, stolen, ripped from their mothers and fathers, and brought back to Russia to be programmed to fight their own families. They have gouged out people's eyes, cut off their ears, and shot people in the back of the head, men, and then gone into those homes and raped the daughters and the wives who were left as widows and orphans. This is the Vladimir Putin.
Is he
this
disassociating?
Is the Vladimir Putin, who Donald Trump called brilliant and a genius. If we don't stand up against this type of autocratic killing, we will.
He's describing Raiden from Metal Gear Solid.
You were mentioned.
Governor Haley, we'll come back.
Vice President Pence was mentioned. You get 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, let me be clear. Anybody that thinks that we can't solve the problems here,
We're gonna have some robots, some robotic men invading at any second.
We can do both, Vivek. We've done both. We've been the leader of the free world and the arsenal of democracy for years. The Reagan Doctrine years
Apparently
ago
it's an
made it
actual
clear.
thing.
We said if you're willing to
What,
fight the
taking
communists on your
prisoners of
soil,
war?
we'll give
Yeah.
you the means to fight them there
No
so
shit.
our troops don't have to fight them. Vivek, if we do the giveaway that you want to give to Putin to give him his land, it's not going to be too long before he rolls across.
Are those
a
prisoners of
NATO
war
border,
perhaps children?
and frankly, our
Probably
men
in some
and women of our armed
capacity.
forces are going to have to go and fight him. I want to let the Ukrainians fight and drive Putin and the Russians back out into Russia.
I want to just
So our
briefly
troops
address
aren't gonna have
Pence.
to make that
Vice
fight.
President Pence. I have a newsflash. The USSR does not exist anymore. It fell back in 1990.
Did I say
the real
USSR?
threat. You talked about the communists, and the real communists that we have to address right now
have any
is the
idea what Vladimir Putin's
Is it time to call things that I don't like communism?
Vladimir Putin has been saying he wants to reestablish the old Soviet sphere
You've made
of
your point,
influence.
Vice President.
Now, if you think I'm sorry if I insulted him by
Inaudible.
calling him a communist. He is a dictator and a murderer, and the United States of America needs to stand against authoritarianism. especially with-
Sarge, thanks for the tier 1.
The real threat we face today is communist China. And we are
China.
driving Russia further into China's arms.
China.
The Russia-China military alliance is the single greatest threat we face. Nobody in either political party is talking about it. And I am the only non-neocon on this list.
Inaudible.
who will keep us out of war.
Mr. Vice President, we can't hear. Mr. Vice President,
is to give Russia
Mr. Vice
everything
President.
they've got.
Mr. Vice President.
I'm going to do a shot, I think.
Ukraine will never be in NATO, and then somehow
Mr. Vice President.
China will not think about taking Taiwan. We achieve peace through strength.
Mr. Vice
And
President.
America needs to
Peace
stand
through
for
strength.
freedom.
Actually, fighting war is peaceful.
Here we go.
I think we need to establish some ground rules
When
here,
we
folks.
hear this bell,
Yes.
that means your time's
Treating
done.
the
So,
candidates
Mr.
like
Vice
their
President,
children.
We appreciate your aggressiveness here. 30 seconds is 30 seconds. Mr. Ramaswamy, you were mentioned. You get 30 seconds.
Among Us.
The reality is that today, Ukraine is not a priority for the United States of America. And I think that the same people who took us into the Iraq War, the same people who took us into the Vietnam War, you cannot start another no-win war. And I do not want to get to the point where we're sending our military resources abroad when we could be better using them here at home to protect our own borders, protect the homeland.
All right.
That will be my top priority in foreign
I think
policy.
we gave you
Protect
more
this
than the 30
homeland.
seconds in the revive.
Lemon
So do you
juice
wanna get to
chaser.
some other people, because everybody, we respect everybody's time here. So, Governor Haley,
We love you.
You
You're very
did not raise
special.
your hand, meaning that you would support.
I need to have all of these
more
people to stop me
funding
for the bell.
the Ukraine
If you remember
war.
the
You
2020,
have,
this
said
is the new
of
meta
Governor
for
DeSantis
debates.
That, you
New meta
didn't
just
appreciate
dropped.
it when he
Yo.
initially called
OG Ghost,
it
thanks for the
a
Prime.
territorial dispute. Why?
First of all, the American president needs to have moral clarity.
Uh,
They need to know the difference between
in the
right
2020
and wrong.
election,
They need
the
to know the difference between
moderators
good and
would
evil.
turn on
when you
the
look
candidates'
at the situation
mics.
with Russia and Ukraine, here you have a pro-American country that was invaded.
Trump would
by a
interrupt
thug.
so
when you
commonly
wanna
that
talk
he-
about
his
what has
mic
been
was
given to
deactivated.
Ukraine, less than 3.5% of our
Until
defense
the
budget has been
moderators
given
deemed
to
it his turn to
Ukraine.
talk.
If you look at the percentages per GDP, 11 of the European countries have given more than the U.S. But what's really important is go back to when China and Russia held hands, shook hands before the Olympics, and named themselves
Trump-based.
unlimited partners.
That's what I'm saying.
A
Why is he not
win
here?
For Russia is a win
He would
for
be
China.
owning these
We have
cucks.
to know that. Ukraine is the first line of defense for us. And the problem that Vivek doesn't understand is he wants to hand Ukraine to
I love
Russia. He
proxy
wants to
wars.
let China
I liked
beat
it whenever
Taiwan.
we
He
fought
wants to
a
go and
proxy
stop
war
funding
in
Israel.
Vietnam.
You don't do that to friends.
And in
what
Korea.
you do instead is you have
We
the
won
backs
both of
your
those, by the
friends.
way.
Ukraine is a
Big
front line of
dubs.
defense. Putin has said, if once Russia takes Ukraine, Poland and the Baltics are next. That's a world war. We're trying to prevent war. Look at what Putin did today. He killed Prigozhin.
Those were just
when
war
I was at
wars.
the UN, the Russian ambassador
Yeah,
suddenly
but
died. This guy is a murderer.
We weren't fighting
and you are
the
choosing a
Vietnamese. We
murderer
were fighting
over a
the Chinese,
American country.
essentially.
First of all, Mr. Ramaswamy, you have 30 seconds. Mr. DeSantis, Governor
Nikki,
DeSantis,
I wish you
you're
well in your future career on the boards of Lockheed and Raytheon. Boeing came off of it, but you've been pushing this lie. You've been pushing this lie all week.
Shouting match.
Go and defund Israel. You want to
Okay,
give
let me
Taiwan
address
to
that.
China.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Go and give
I'm going to
Ukraine
address
Russia.
each of those right now. This is the false lies of a professional politician. There you have it. So the reality
And
you know what? The foreign policy experience that you all have shows in the pointless wars we've gotten into. I have to address that. So our relationship with Israel will never be stronger than by the end of my first term.
I will give literally everything that we own directly to Israel.
And you know what friends do? Friends help each other stand on their own 2 feet. So I will lead Abraham Accords 2.0. I will partner with Israel to make sure Iran never is nuclear armed. But you know what I love about
It's
Israel?
bad when they
I've
have
been
it.
there probably in the last 10 years more than most people on this stage. You know what I love about them? I love their border policies. I love their tough on crime policies. I love that they have a national identity and an iron dome to protect their homeland. And so, yes, I want to learn from the
Let's go
friends
back
that
to
we're supporting.
isolationism.
I want to learn from those and apply those to protect our homeland, Nikki.
Israel
That is
needs
the answer.
America. America needs Israel.
Okay,
Huh?
Governor DeSantis, you were mentioned in the territorial dispute. Not only
Israel, they're playing target saturation because otherwise Iran would invade us.
Our country and its people. And that means
What? Yeah, Ron, I
you're
agree
sending
with
all this
Ron.
money, but you're not doing what we need to do to secure our own border. We have tens of thousands of people
We can
who
do
are
both
being
at the
killed because
same
well, we're
time.
not handling
And we
both.
can do
And so
both
I am
at
going
the
to
same
declare it a
time.
national emergency. I'm not going to send troops to Ukraine, but I am going to send them to our southern border. When these
We
drug
need
pushers
every
are
single
bringing fentanyl across the
able-bodied
border, that's gonna be the
army
last
man
thing
and
they
National
do. We're gonna
Guard
use
should be
force, and we're gonna
patrolling
leave
the
them
border.
stone cold dead.
we're actually going to move on to China.
He said it.
We're gonna talk
I put
about
that one on the
China.
list for a reason. He said it.
China
We need to
has the
kill
biggest Navy
people.
in the world, the biggest army in the world. Now they have warships off the coast of Alaska. They are threatening Taiwan. In coming years,
We
China
need to
will have
kill people at the
1,500
border
nuclear
by shooting
warheads,
them
it's believed.
to
the
death.
U.S. just arrested 2 sailors accused of spying for China within our military. So the question is, how would you deter China as a president, Burgum?
Well, this is the #1 issue we're facing. And of course, we haven't been talking about it. And we act like that letting Russia win in Ukraine is like a gimme as opposed to a gift.
Fentanyl
to China.
child spotted Squadron
Russia has
6
become
go.
China's gas station. But how would we do it?
Roll out.
The Biden administration is
We
a
have an
complete
unidentified
fail.
child.
China imports 10 million barrels
Lethal
of oil
force
a day, more than any
is
other
advised.
country in the world. They do not even have all the food they need to feed everybody in that country, so they don't have energy security or food security. But the Biden administration sends Blinken, Yellen over there. They're over there. They don't even bring up energy because they're too busy trying to kill the U.S. energy here. And what we need to do is not meetings, not press releases, because something that would send a lot more than a press release is actually Harpoon missiles. We need anti-ship missiles on Taiwan. The way that you have a war never start, which is the goal, the way you have peace through strength is that you actually have strength. You actually have deterrence. And what we have in what we've got going on in Ukraine.
We're saying we
is
need
an
to
example
point
of when
missiles at
deterrence
China?
fail. What is an example there of Biden's disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, the fact that he greenlighted Putin moving into Ukraine, and then now they see weakness, and when they see weakness, they make a move. And we have to be strong, and we have to be strong both in Ukraine, and we can solve the southern border. Absolutely, we can do that, because guess what? There's only 19,855 authorized people for the Border Patrol, but they're not all staff because the Biden administration doesn't enforce law enforcement. But Biden administration wanted to put 87,000 people in the IRS as opposed to giving the money and the support we need to our own Border Patrol.
There's people telling me I have to pay my taxes, but there's not people who are shooting people at the southern border. It really makes you think. It's really either or. You have to choose between the two.
Agents and hire or double the number of Border Patrol agents. I just left Yuma, Arizona about 2 weeks ago. The most pressing need of the American people from a national security standpoint is our southern border. It has led to the death of 70,000 Americans because of fentanyl. Plus, 6
That's a lot of people.
illegal crossings.
That's like
since
such an
President Biden's taken office,
unfathomable
and
amount of deaths
200 people
that were
on
preventable.
our national
I can't
security
think of
watch list
anything
have been caught at our
that
border.
we've
How many
downplayed that
have
has
not
caused
been
more
caught
people to
at
die
our
than
southern
that by
border?
an order
If
of
we
magnitude.
Just spend $10 billion, we could finish the wall. For $5 billion more, we could have the military-grade technology to surveil our southern border to stop the flow of fentanyl and save 70,000 Americans a year. That should be the priority of this government, and as the next
Dude,
president
I
of the United States,
want it so bad.
I will make that
Honestly, at this
border
point,
wall
I'm pro
complete.
southern border wall. I want it to happen because it won't work.
I couldn't agree more.
And then
It's
what
not
do we
just the
talk about?
70,000 from fentanyl. We've lost 200,000 people to overdoses since Biden took office.
I just want them
That's
to build it
300
already,
people a day. We're taking mass
so that way we
casualties,
can understand
and
that
those
it
are- that's a
doesn't do
statistic, but
anything.
These are sons and daughters, nieces and nephews that we're losing. We've got North Dakota troops down there flying night
I just want to
helicopter
prove a
missions
point.
from San Diego to the Gulf Coast, trying to stop these transnational criminal organizations. They've got better funding on their side than we've got on our side.
Speaking of which, Governor Hutchinson, speaking of which, images from earlier this month, Governor Hutchinson,
with Mexico.
Inaudible.
Pence,
Man,
images from
cut to
earlier
ad
this
already. I need
month.
to make another beverage.
Vice President Pence, it really doesn't help. I'm asking a question.
Pence,
Earlier
shut the fuck
this
up, man.
month, images showed suspected cartel members crossing into Texas with rifles. Do you consider this an invasion? Would you authorize lethal force along that border?
Here's a Mexican with a gun.
There would
Kill
be
him.
lethal force used by the Border Patrol, law enforcement as needed to protect the border. Absolutely. When you look at the military,
Two guys
has
with
to be
guns.
used for intelligence gathering purposes. This
Here's
is
some
not
pictures
unusual.
from
Whenever I was
World Star.
in the Bush administration, we went down
Should
there
we
and
invade
met
Mexico?
with
Thoughts?
President Vicente Fox of Mexico and asked his help in going after the cartels.
Picture
And
of
he looked at me
Bigfoot
and
with
said,
a
"They're
gun."
problem to us as well." And so we joined together.
It only
and we
took like 10
down
guys to cause
the
World War
Ariana
I.
Felix brothers,
That's also just
leading
not
the
true.
Tijuana cartel,
There was like
and that made a difference. Ramon was
There's
shot
like
and killed,
crazy
and Ben
tension
was captured.
brewing in the area.
Cooperation makes a difference. We cannot be successful going against the cartel unless we bring in Mexico as a partner. We have to use economic pressure to accomplish that. President Obrador has not been helpful, and we have to use economic pressure that this administration is not using. The rule of law has to matter on both sides.
That's like
This
saying that
is
like
critical. I've done it.
the
We know what
invasion
needs
of
to be done.
Iraq
The
was caused by
military has to
like
be
5 guys.
Limited in its use.
Whenever they did 9/11, just not true.
We had the global war on terror.
decades of
And guess
context
what?
leading up to
we
it.
protected the border at the same time. You can do both.
Okay, let's go to Governor DeSantis. So, as president,
Why would
would you
5 guys
support
do that?
sending U.S. Special Forces over the border into
Yo,
Mexico to
send 'em
take out
in.
fentanyl labs, to take out drug cartel
Yo,
operations?
let's
Would you
start
support
drone
that kind of
striking
American
just random
military?
neighborhoods in Mexico, I think.
Yes, and
I was
will
like,
do
I
it
thought it was a
on day
fentanyl lab.
one.
Like, what do you want from
Here's
me?
the thing. The cartels are
I'm going to the.
tens
We're
of
taking too long. I
thousands
can't wait.
Of our fellow citizens.
I think it's
You
every
wanna talk
30
about a
minutes.
country in decline? You have the
So we're probably going to cut
cartels
to an ad break in like 3
controlling
minutes,
a lot
but
of part of your
I'm only
southern
going to be gone
border.
for like 30
we
seconds.
have to reestablish the rule of law, and we have to defend our people. The President of the United States has got to use all available powers as Commander-in-Chief to protect our country and to protect the people. So when they're coming across, yes, we're going to use lethal force. Yes, we reserve the right to operate. How many more tens of thousands are we going to let to die? I am sick. I've met angel moms throughout this country. I met a lady in Texas named Tracy, and her son took one Percocet that was laced with fentanyl, immediately died. That is happening all across this country because of the poison that they are bringing in. So as president, would I use force? Would I treat them as foreign terrorist organizations? You're darn right I would.
You know, Vice President Pence, why would you be better at this issue than Governor DeSantis? Governor DeSantis on the campaign trail refers to your administration as not finishing the wall.
Right. Look, we secured the southern border of the United States of America and reduced illegal immigration and asylum abuse by 90%.
I miss any
When
bangers?
Joe Biden took over, he threw open the southern border of the
Yes.
United States, and the wave of humanity, the wave of fentanyl that's been eloquently described here is a wave of human tragedy.
I missed a
across this
banger?
country. But Martha, you began this evening talking
Someone
about
said
who is
they
best
took a
prepared to be the
fentanyl-labeled
next
perk
president of
and
the
died
United States.
instantly. The insta-death
And I have
perk.
to tell you, with all humility, I was there when we negotiated through the government shutdown and got the funding available to build.
Saw my grandma in the kitchen
I was
just
negotiating
now.
on Capitol Hill around the clock.
And I was like, I'm watching the Republican debate. It's a real clown show.
On behalf of the President of the
She's like,
United States, and I
yeah,
say, "You're so
I'd only
right.
vote whenever I feel like it's
because we
something
used
important.
economic pressure
I
to
vote. The
bring
only reason I voted
Mexicans
for
to the
Trump that
table,
one time
and they
is
allowed us to have people wait in Mexico
because
while
they had that
applied
farm
for
bill,
asylum
and
ended
they,
asylum
I
abuse
didn't want all the
overnight.
Japanese
We
or
got
the
the
Chinese
Mexicans to
coming
deploy
over
their
here and
national
taking all
guard
the
to their
farms.
southern border and
I was like,
our
okay,
southern
Grandma,
border
I
as
gotta
never
go.
before. And I want to promise you, as President of the United States of America, I will engage Mexico the exact same way, and we will partner with the Mexican military, and we will hunt down and destroy the cartels that are claiming lives in the United States of America.
Okay, thank you. Another issue that is related to this is
And also
that almost
there
7
was definitely
million
that was definitely a real
migrants
thing
have
that would have
crossed this
happened
border, our southern
if Hillary
border,
got
during the Biden
elected.
administration. So, Governor Christie, what would you do about
I
the
told her that
7
I don't vote in
million
Oklahoma
who are
because
here? How
the
would you
Republicans are
handle
going to win
that?
no
What would
matter
you
what.
Look, Martha, the first thing we need to do is to stop any more from coming. That's the first thing we need to do. Then the next thing we need to do with the folks that are here is to, again, as we've talked about all night tonight, we have to have law and order in this country. We have to enforce the law. And what that means is to make sure that people who come here illegally are not rewarded for being here illegally. We have so many wonderful
Welfare
people
queens.
from around the world who are waiting in line,
Illegal immigrant
following
welfare
the law
queens.
to try to come here and pursue the American dream. And those people are waiting and waiting and waiting because we haven't dealt with the
Overweight,
problem of the
handsome
folks who are here.
Jack.
We have to have them detained. We have to make sure that they are not rewarded.
We need
for
to
having
put
broken
them
the
in
law.
camps
And one last thing on this
for an
fentanyl
indeterminate
issue.
amount of time.
With China, we can't take our eye off of that ball. Right. Yes, it's important that we secure the border. Very important, as I just said.
Okay.
But China is sending these chemicals to these drug cartels for them to create
Chinese
the fentanyl
chemicals.
that is killing hundreds of thousands of our citizens. The Chinese are engaging in an act of war against us, killing our citizens. We better make that priority one in our conversations with China and to try to straighten that relationship out, because if we don't, we're going to lose more and more of our citizens.
I just want to clarify. Would you send those people back?
Of course. You'd have to.
I live in Texas. My vote might
We
potentially
have
matter.
a lot of issues that Americans care about. Next
Probably
up,
not.
we're going to talk
I'm
about
gonna
the
be honest,
crisis
probably
in
not.
education, as millions of American children are not proficient in reading or math after this.
Well, remember whenever we asked the school shooter question and they just literally nobody
Do you
answered
trust
it?
our government
All
and
right,
where the economy
let's
is
watch
heading?
this clip.
Does the thought of losing your hard-earned retirement savings to DC's reckless spending scare the heck out of you?
What do we got? Rhonda, talk to me. If I don't do it this way. This is how I have things set up. I got to do it this way.
You're going to let to die. I am sick. I've met angel
you
moms throughout this
smell
country.
what Barack
I met a
has
lady in Texas named Tracy, and her son.
Is this Rhonda
took
making up a person
one
getting mad
Percocet
about it again?
That was laced with fentanyl, immediately died. That is happening all across this country because of the poison that they are bringing in. So as president, would I use force? Would I treat them as foreign terrorist organizations? You're darn right I would. You know, Vice President, I met a lady in Texas named Tracy throughout this country. I met a lady in Texas named Tracy.
He met Tracy and then she died instantly. Did he was he friends? Was he close friends? Was he there when she took it? Oh, the son.
And her son
took
one Percocet.
Not that one. This one. The Republican National Committee's cool now.
Welcomes everybody, where you feel free to be who you are,
Free.
where you respect another person's freedom in exchange for our own community. You can be you, I can be me, without judgment, beyond acceptance, love, and enthusiasm for the billions of ways that it's possible to be a human being.
Percocet. Molly Percocet. Weird Al fell off. Man, I didn't know Weird Al did such a crazy British accent. One Percocet and died instantly.
Are we going to let to die? I am sick. I've met angel moms throughout this country. I met a lady in Texas named Tracy, and her son took one Percocet that was laced with fentanyl, immediately died. That is happening all across.
I don't think it's
because
succinct
of the
enough. I
poison
think
that they
I
are
think it's
bringing in.
kind of a little
So
too
as
long-winded.
president, would I use force? Would I treat him as foreign?
Your hard-earned retirement savings to DC's reckless spending scare the heck out of you?
Immediately
Smart
it
Americans
died.
are taking action.
It's
by
the
texting
meme
word now
of
to
injecting weed. It's the injecting
9898
weed
for a
meme.
free info kit on gold from Birch Gold Group. For 20 years, Birch Gold has helped concerned Americans protect their future by moving part of an existing IRA or 401k into a physical gold IRA. Text now to 989898 now for a free info kit.
The Barry McCockner classic. Yeah. So they did this last time. It cut to an ad break too. It's where it just lingers on this screen for like a really long time.
The Nation's report
Like how
card was
the
the
TV
weakest
right here,
ever for American
like,
school children.
kind of perfectly
exposing chronic absenteeism,
perfectly aligns
deep
with
declines
the,
for reading and math for
yeah,
15-year-olds and
black bar.
13-year-olds. Governor DeSantis, you would eliminate, you said, the Department of Education. But as president,
Classical
would you
Music Mac.
still have
Yeah,
a
yeah,
responsibility to fix
Simply Hoodie,
this
thanks for tier one.
crisis as we see it?
Absolutely. The decline in education is one of the major reasons why
Americans
our
are getting
country is in
stupider,
decline.
but also
We
colleges
need
are bad.
Education in this country, not indoctrination in this country. And in Florida, we stood up for
Putting
what was right.
PragerU in
First,
Texas
we had
schools.
schools open during COVID, and a lot of the problems that we've seen are
I was
because
shown
these
PragerU
lockdown
videos
states locked their
whenever
kids
I was
out
in high
of
school in
for
Oklahoma.
A year and a half. That was wrong. We stood up. I took a lot of fire for that. I was
10
pilloried
years
by the
ago.
media, but I stood for our kids. And as president, I'll stand for you and your kids as well. But we have to make sure that what our schools are doing is focusing on solid academics. In Florida,
get
we
with the
eliminated
times,
critical race
Texas.
theory from our K through 12 schools. We eliminated gender ideology from our K through 12 schools. And we have elevated the importance of American civics in teaching our kids about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights.
Because we stopped
As
doing that.
president, I'm going to lead an effort to increase civic understanding and knowledge of our Constitution. We cannot
We
be
eliminated
graduating
gender.
students that don't have any foundation in what it means to be an American.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
Drinking for transphobia.
Mr. Ramaswamy, hold on, Senator Scott. You've said that the Department of Education, the FBI, the ATF, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the IRS, the Department of Commerce, many of these should not
USA.
exist.
My pronouns are
That's
kiss
correct.
my ass.
So, to the education question, how would you deal with the crisis?
So look, we have a crisis of achievement.
What's Vivek
Let's
gonna
shut
say?
down the head of the snake, the Department of Education. Take that $80 billion, put it in the hands of parents across this country. This is the civil rights issue of our time. Allow
The
any
parents
parent to
should
choose
teach the
where they send
kids
their
with
to
the
school.
money?
End the teachers' unions at the local level to
I
allow
hate teachers'
public
unions. They're
schools
so bad.
to compete. And then revive our national identity where every high school senior should have to pass the same civics test that, frankly, every immigrant, including my mother, had to pass in order to become a citizen of this country. And the fact of the matter is, look, there's a part of education.
I get that he said that his
also
mother had to
rests
take the
with
test
family.
to become a citizen,
I
but the
didn't
way
grow
that he
up in
phrased
money.
it made it sound like
But you
that
know,
the
the
high
word
schoolers
privilege
have to
gets
take that
used a
test to
lot.
become a citizen.
Well, you know what? I did have the ultimate privilege of two parents in the house with a focus on educational achievement. And I want every kid to enjoy that. So part of the problem is we also have a federal government that pays single
what he
women
said?
more not to have a man in the house
Really?
than to have a
I
man
thought-
in the house, contributing to an epidemic of
So if you fail the test, then
fatherlessness.
you're not a
And I think
citizen?
that goes hand in glove with the education crisis as well, because we have to remember education starts with the family, and the nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to mankind.
What is it?
Governor
Are
Haley
we
has said
advocating for anarchy?
Biological boys playing in girls' sports is the women's issue of our time. You said that even though you signed a ban in North Dakota, that there hadn't been one instance where it was actually.
We got there, baby.
Are you saying that you think that too much is made of this issue?
No,
Yes.
I'm saying in North Dakota,
Too
we
much
made a
is made of
priority
this issue.
protecting
No
women's
one cares
sports,
about
and
women's
we've done
sports.
that, in our
That's
state.
my take.
But I would absolutely do that. But I do think when we start talking about education,
I stray away from
and
the
we think that we're gonna
transphobia
have
on
a
this
federal
issue, and I
government,
go
one
into the
size fits
misogyny.
all,
No one
we're
cares
just
about women's
completely
sports.
losing track of the fact that education differs by state. Some school districts are doing a fantastic job, some less so. But the idea that every school district, state, and every teacher
It makes
is
it so if
somehow
you fail
indoctrinating people is
citizenship
just
test, you
false.
can't vote until
You know, when I was
25.
building
Oh,
a
and then you
company from
understand.
scratch,
Yeah,
with
it's
small
better.
town kids, and we went, grew up in a town of 300, but we built a global company in 132 countries with over 100,000 customers. We listened to those customers. We spent time with them. We talked to them. We did that. And as governor, well,
Trans
education is one of the biggest part of the state budget.
radical
So as a governor,
misogynist.
I go, I shadow a student.
I'm a
the night
term.
before I find out the student finds out, I'm going to go to every class with them. I don't sit and lecture school districts how to do it. I go and see the experience. And there's a lot of things that have to change. But what
Vivek
needs to
isn't
change
that
in
bad.
education is
He's just a real
it's
prankster, I
innovation.
feel.
We're doing it the same way we did it 50 years ago with innovation, not regulation. I would get rid of the Department of Education. I would give block grants to schools, but I'd give them on merit based on who's doing the most innovative. I just got done holding the 7th annual Governor's Conference on Innovation Education. You should see what the people are doing when you cut loose the red tape, get the burden off their back. They care. Teachers in this country, the vast majority of them care about those kids. They're working in low-paying jobs, and they're fighting for those kids and their families.
You can get more Vivek jokes.
Issue of our time.
First, I'll tell you, as you know, as a parent, the one thing you want is for your child to have a better life than you did. And we can talk about all of these things, and there's a lot of crazy woke things happening in schools,
Woke.
but we've got to
First-
get these
first
kids
mention
reading.
of woke
If a child
today,
can't read by
shockingly.
3rd grade, they're 4 times less likely to graduate high school. So we need to make sure we bring in reading remediation all over this country. We need transparency in the classroom because parents should never have to wonder what's being said or taught to their children
Transparency in the classroom.
Parents need to be
I thought
deciding
we
which
need
schools their
trans
kids go
parents
to
in the
because they know
classroom.
best. And let's put vocational classes back into the high schools. Let's teach our kids to build things again. When we do that and we allow that
Without Trump, we're not
innovation,
drinking much.
when
That's just
it'll
not
get
true.
back.
I'm
And yes,
I'm
I will always
pretty
say,
fucking
I'm
drunk
gonna
right now.
fight for girls all day long because strong girls become strong women become strong leaders, and biological boys don't belong in the locker rooms of any of our girls.
Another point on education.
We're going to start the lightning round. And the first question
Oh, let's
is
go to
gonna
the lightning round. That sounds
to you, Vice
fun.
President. So this is a lightning round of questions. 30-second answers, please. President Biden will be 82 years old on Inauguration Day. Nearly
Old.
70% of
Unlike Trump,
Americans
who's
say
not-
that he
who's
is
not
too
old.
to serve. Should presidents have to pass a mental and physical test?
Communism
in
is
order to
based-
And it should be
serve
live streamed.
Vice
They should do
President
it. They should have to pass the cognicy test
it
on
might
live
be a
stream.
good idea to have everybody in Washington, D.C. pass a mental and
Am I right, fellas? All right, we have fun here.
30 seconds. No, the American people can make those judgments. But let me say, I'm running for president of the United States because we don't need a president who's too old, and we don't need a president who's too young. We need a president who's been there. We need a president who knows how Congress works,
Why did
how
he
the
get
White House
booed?
works, how states worked. And on this education issue, Martha, I was fighting against No Child Left Behind when Republicans were doubling the Department of Education. I'll also shut down the federal Department of Education. And when I was governor, we doubled the size of the largest school choice program
We need a
in America.
president who's me.
And we'll give school choice to every family in America when I'm in the White House.
This is a lightning round, Mr.
School choice,
Ramaswamy. I
also
think
known
you
as,
mentioned there, you're 38, you're the youngest on the stage. You've said
Let
and
my
you just said
child
you want
go
a
to
civics
Catholic
test for
school.
public service for those
No
under
holds
25
barred.
to be able to
Give
vote.
me a
So the
stipend to
question
send
is,
my
do you
kid to
want a
some
mental acuity test
crazy
for
person school
presidents
that
over
doesn't teach them
75?
shit.
I believe in the people of this country to tell the difference between somebody who's an automaton and somebody who's actually a thinking agent in the White House,
Yo.
which we don't have in there today.
We got
And I
a
will tell you, I
we
wanna
got an
address Vice
Autobot
President
in the
Pence's
White House.
comment. I think we do need somebody of a different generation to lead this nation forward. Look at the way I've run this campaign. Going to the south side of Chicago, to Kensington, in the middle of Philadelphia, where traditional Republican candidates don't go. We have an opportunity to build a multi-ethnic, working-class majority to deliver a landslide, and I think I'm the only candidate in this race, young or old, black or white, to bring all of those voters along to deliver a Reagan 1980 revolution. We're going to do it in 2024.
Same question to you,
The Great Revolution of 1980, where Reagan came in office and cut taxes.
Listen, we're getting control of the debate. This is a lightning round, not rolling thunder. Governor Hutchinson, you have 30 seconds on the same question.
On education, first of all, look at Arkansas. We have to compete with China. I built computer science education. We led the nation in computer science education, going from 1,100 students to 23,000 students taking it. This is how you compete with China. As President of the United States, I will make sure we go from 51% of our schools offering computer science to every school in rural areas and urban areas offering computer science for the benefit of our kids, and we can compete with China in terms of technology.
My policy is learn to code.
We're trying to do
As president, I will make every kid learn to code.
Senator Scott, faith is on decline in this country. You talked about it a little bit before tonight. So is there a role
How do we put God
for
back
a
into
president
the
of
brains
United
of
States
America?
in changing that? What would you do to change that?
Well, our nation was founded upon the Judeo-Christian values that has made this the greatest nation on God's green earth. I'm a big believer in Ephesians 3:20 that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all
Can I get
that we
ow
ask or
for
imagine.
Judeo-Christian values?
Our responsibility should be to model the behavior we want others to follow. On education,
Christianity mentioned.
The only way we change education in this nation is to break the backs of the teachers' unions. They are standing in the doorhouse of our kids, locking them into failing schools and locking them out of the greatest future they could have.
As President, Governor DeSantis, would you support some mandatory military service for all Americans?
I think it should be voluntary. I'm somebody that volunteered to serve, inspired by September 11th, and I deployed to Iraq alongside U.S. Navy SEALs in places like Fallujah, Ramadi. And it's something that I think has taught me, you know, when you go in that type of environment, anything you have, your personal agenda, you check it at the door. You go there, and it's about focusing on the mission above all else.
It's about killing. It's about killing who your commander tells you to kill.
Being the president of the United States, it's not about me. It's not about all these other side issues. My sole focus will be on your future and reversing this country's decline.
Not gonna lie, chat. If I got recruited, to go to the army, like in some sort of inscription
Governor Christie, do you
type deal,
in UFO
I would go to jail.
I get the UFO.
I would not serve it. I would not serve in the armed forces for any reason.
Okay, we've been hearing a lot of.
I would go to jail first.
Congress, and people
Inscription, not inscription. Yeah,
seriously.
sorry. I feel like I say that all the time.
There are things going on that people aren't aware of. So, if you were president, Governor Christie, would you level with the American people about what the government knows about these possible encounters?
Martha, and especially coming from a woman from New Jersey, I think it's horrible that just because I'm from New Jersey, you asked me about unidentified flying objects and Martians. We're different, but we're not that different. Look, of course, the job of the President of the United States is to level with the American people about everything. The job of the President of the United States is to stand for truth.
Why does he sound out of breath? Because he's been standing up for an hour and 45 minutes.
Is to be a role model for our children and our grandchildren. And so whether it was UFOs or this problem of education, and Tim's right, by the way, and I started this in 2010 by going right after the teachers' unions in New Jersey and drove them down to an all-time low popularity rating because they were putting themselves before our kids. That is the biggest threat to our country, not UFOs.
Well, coming up, we've got closing arguments plus right
if Trump
after
were
the
elected
debate,
president,
Hannity
trans
is
people
live
can't serve in
from
the military,
spin room
so
right
you'd be
here
safe.
in the Fiserv Forum with reaction from all the
After the
candidates.
Republican debate, it's
As soon as they
Hannity.
Step off the stage. We'll be back after this.
Base Trump, yeah, base Trump not allowing transgender people to serve in the military.
Where the economy is heading? Does
the
thought of
United States
losing your
military is
hard-earned
actually the
retirement
biggest
savings
welfare
to DC's
program that we
reckless
have.
spending scare the heck out of you? Well, you're not
And while I
alone.
think that it's
Smart
extremely
Americans are
overfunded, I
taking
think
action while they still
that
can by
excluding
reaching
anybody
out to
from it
Birch Gold
is
Group. For over
really
20
excluding
years,
a lot of people
Birch
from
Gold
upwards
has helped
mobility.
Concerned Americans protect their futures by moving part of an existing IRA or 401k into a physical gold
because
IRA.
for a lot of
Because
people
when
in,
things
in
are a mess,
really
like
poor
right now, Americans
areas,
turn to gold.
the military is
With
the
an A+
easiest
rating,
upwards
with a
mobility
Better
path that
Business
you can
Bureau,
take.
and thousands of happy
You
customers,
just have to say, "I'll
Birch
do it," and
Gold
then they
is
say,
the
"Okay,"
trusted
and then you
leader
get
in
paid
gold.
like way more
They're
money
busier
than you'd be
because
making
people are
probably
taking
doing anything
control of
else
their
in your
savings away
butt fuck
from the
nowhere
government
town.
and into their own hands. Text the word now to the number 989898
And that's just
to get a
the way
free
it
info
goes.
kit on gold. There's no pressure and no obligation, just information. So get your no-cost info kit now. Text now to 989898.
How are we looking up there, Sergeant Best? On target, on time, boys! Fire forward, back!
Dude, I love that I just know whenever I watch these types of programs that I'm gonna be getting the same 5 ads. Vivek and Tim Scott are G's and fuck everyone else. Well, actually, I think just fuck all of them, period. Until recently, Joe Biden has refused to admit how many grandchildren he really has. He refused. He was asked and he just didn't do it. Fact check Biden.
Rumble has to be a place that welcomes
Like how it says text your
everybody,
answers to
where you
insert
feel
number
free
and you
to be who you are, where you respect another person's freedom in exchange for your own freedom for being respected. I believe that ultimately and fundamentally we can do this together without top-down authority, that we can regulate
Russell
democratically
Brand,
our own community.
please,
You
can I
be
stream
you,
League of Legends
I
on
can
a
be
place
me,
where I'm allowed
without
to say
judgment,
slurs?
beyond acceptance, love,
That's all
and
I want.
enthusiasm for the billions
They won't let
of
me say
ways
it
that
in
it's
game
possible to
anymore.
be a
They banned
human
me
being.
instantly.
When things go sideways, will you be prepared? Hey, it's Cade Courtley, former Navy SEAL platoon commander.
Paid endorser.
I want to introduce you to the Patriot Power Generator 2000X. Use the endless
That's what
free
Kick is
power of the
for?
sun
Yeah,
to power
I feel like
lights, your TV,
Rumble and
medical
Kick are
equipment,
really
even run your
cannibalizing
fridge.
one
And that's
another.
without gas,
They should join
fumes, or
forces
noise. Go to 4patriots.com
and really take down Twitch.
You'll get a solar panel included free. This is about peace of mind. Get your solar generator
Clean
and free
energy?
panel
Nope.
at 4patriots.com.
Maybe if it ran on coal, we might be talking, but solar power, Patriot energy. Who do you think is winning the debate? Bro, it's Chris Christie. Chris Christie's winning. This is my favorite ad that we get served tonight. It's 9/11 coffee. Yeah, Vivek Ramaswamy's strategy for this debate is to just very enthusiastically say some generalized,
Does the thought of losing your hard-earned retirement
like,
savings to DC's reckless spending
zero
scare
chance
the
of
heck
ever
out you?
happening bullshit,
Smart Americans are
and
taking action by texting the word now to
and then just
989898
being like,
for
am
a
I right,
free info
guys?
kit on gold
That'd be
from
really
Birch
cool.
Gold Group.
Ah!
For 20 years, Birch Gold has helped concerned Americans protect their future by moving part of an existing IRA or 401k into a physical gold IRA. Text now to 989898 now for a free info kit.
I'm called Chris Christie a savage maniac. Ooh, let me check the truths on my cell phone. Let me open up my Truth Social app. At Revolver Ocelot on Truth Social, by the way.
A live look at the Reagan Library as the sun sets in Simi Valley, California. We'll see you there next month when our colleagues at Fox Business host the next 2024 showdown.
Damn.
Fox Business is partnering
Most recent
with
truth is from
Univision,
2
the
hours
Reagan
ago. He's
Foundation,
respecting the
and
debate.
Rumble to bring you the second Republican presidential
Because
debate
apparently
on
the
September
Tucker
27th. It
Carlson
looks
interview
pretty
went up.
nice there. 20 years ago, 70% of American adults said they were extremely proud to be an American. That number has now plummeted to just 39%. In his pitch to get to the Oval Office, President Reagan called America the shining city on a hill, a beacon of hope and optimism.
So in your
What
closing
happened,
statement
guys?
tonight, please tell American voters why you are the person who can inspire this nation to a better day. These are 45 seconds, and we begin with Governor Burgum.
Oh,
I understand why America's hurting.
has this guy been here the whole time?
Inflation is choking us. I grew up in a small town. My dad died when I was... My mom, widow of 3, went back to work. Every job I had growing up was one where I took a shower at the end of the day, not at the beginning of the day. Our cities are less safe because of the fentanyl pouring into this country. Our economy is being crushed by Biden's energy policies, which are raising the cost of every product you buy, not just the gasoline at the pump. One thing that I'll do as president, I'll secure the border. I'll get this economy sprinting, not crawling like
The
it is
Winter
right
Soldier
now.
has been activated.
And I would say that other thing is for sure, when I'm on a horseback in the Badlands of North Dakota, it looks like the horizon is just limitless. And when you can almost see beyond that horizon, you can see that this great country, our future is unlimited. But we've got to focus on innovation, not regulation. We've got to cut the red tape. We've got to drive ourselves forward. The way we win the Cold War with China is by growing our economy and through innovation. And as president, I will bring out the best.
I have no
in
idea what this
America.
guy's been
will
saying.
improve
I got
every
way too
American life.
distracted by this bullshit. Zen Freak, thanks for the tier oneer.
Our nation is in trouble, and it's in trouble because of failed leadership. And the solution is not 4 more years of Joseph Biden. The solution is not 4 more years of Donald Trump. The solution is
Ooh,
new
fuck you, actually it
leadership
is.
that can bring
I'm
bold
voting for Trump no matter
ideas
what.
to America and to bring out the best of America. A president's #1 responsibility is to bring out the best of our people. That's what Ronald Reagan did. And he did it with optimism and hope for our country, with consistent
Ronald Reagan,
conservatism.
good. He was
That's
so
exactly
good.
what I bring.
Remember the 80s?
As president, I'll bring out the
The 80s
best
were
of
really
America
good, right?
in
Vote for
terms of
me. Remember the
individual
80s? Thank you.
responsibility, building our economy, in terms of securing our border, enforcing the rule of law. I'll bring out the best of America in terms of our national character, our faith, and our hope for the future. Join in this fight. ASA2024.com.
Thank you,
It's
Senator
ASA?
Scott.
It's been ASA the whole time? I thought it was
Thank you.
ASA.
I was a disillusioned young man growing up in a single-parent household, mired in poverty. I wondered if the American dream was real for a kid like me. I can stand before you today and say the dream is
No.
alive, it is well, and it is healthy. I have the good fortune of a mom who works 16-hour days, making sure we have food on our tables. She taught me that if you're able-bodied in America, you work. If you take out a loan, you pay it back. If you commit a violent crime, you go to jail. And if God made you a man, you play sports against men.
That's
I'm Tim
a
Scott.
drink.
I'm asking you for your vote, and if you're in Iowa, I'm asking you to caucus for me. You can go to votetimscott.com for more information. or
Laughs and
make a
PPP loans.
Governor Christie.
Thank you, Brett.
If
Thank
God
you,
made you
Martha.
a man, you
Look,
play sports.
Everybody on this stage
That's a
wants
good
to
clip.
be the next president of the United States. And the only way that's going to happen is if we beat Joe Biden. I'm the only one on this stage who's ever beaten a Democratic incumbent in an election. I did it in a deep blue state, being outspent 3-1. Beating a Democratic incumbent is not easy. The last Democratic incumbent president who was defeated was Jimmy Carter. And he was defeated by a conservative governor from a blue state who knew how to get results, who stood for the truth, who cared about accountability, and stood strong and hard against waste. Those are the very things that I did in my 8 years as governor of New Jersey, and it's exactly what I'll do as president of the United States. Believe me, the Democrats want some other nominee who's never beaten a Democratic incumbent. I'm the one who can win this race, and if you give me the chance,
Okay, buddy.
I will restore our country by winning it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Governor Haley.
yeah, you will. Yes. After today, I think
Several weeks
I'm
ago,
on the
I
I'm on the
dropped my
Christie
husband,
train.
Michael, a combat
He's my
veteran
favorite
from
guy.
Afghanistan, off at 4 a.m. for
He's-
another year-long deployment. I watched him and 230 soldiers pick up their 2 duffel bags of belongings to go to a country they had never been, all in the name of protecting America. If they are willing to protect us from there, we should be willing to fight for America here. I will beat Joe Biden, and he knows that. I will strengthen our economy, and we'll bring this inflation down. We will put transparency in the classroom. We will secure our borders. We will have the backs of our law enforcement, and we will make sure we have a strong national security. And
Joe
once
Biden
again,
is
we will make
shaking
sure
in
we have an
his
America that is strong and proud.
shaking in his
We have a
bicycle
country to save.
shoes.
Join us. Go to NikkiHaley.com and let's get
At
it done.
the prospects of having to run against Nikki Haley. Joe Biden is falling down 4 flights of stairs.
For this evening, it's an honor to be here.
Hello,
Joe
where am
Biden
I?
has weakened America at home and abroad. The disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, their war on energy, runaway spending that launched the worst inflation in 40 years, a crisis at our southern border,
That's
an
it.
assault on
I
our
can't think of
values and
anything else
liberties.
that would cause inflation
And the
that's
American
happened
people
recently.
have had enough. But I know we can bring it back. But different times call for different leadership. The Republican Party owes the American people a choice. Proven leadership at the national level that knows how to move a conservative agenda forward. We proved in the Trump-Pence years you can turn this country around faster than
The
you can
Trump-Pence
imagine.
years,
And I
you
have
say?
faith we will again. Because I have faith.
Is there
in the
anyone else on the
American
ticket that I might vote for?
people. Good, decent, hardworking, faith-filled, idealistic people. This
Instead
country.
of you?
I have faith that God is
The
not
Mr.
done
Pence
with
of the
America
Trump-Pence
yet.
team.
And if we will renew our faith in one another and renew our faith in Him who has ever guided
Christianity
this nation
mentioned.
since we arrived on these wilderness shores, I know the best days for the greatest nation on earth are yet to come.
Thank you. Mr. Ramaswamy.
I was born in 1985, and I grew up into a generation where we were taught to celebrate our diversity and our differences so much that we forgot all of the ways we are really just the same as Americans, bound by a common set of
Back to
ideals
the future,
that
dude.
set this nation into motion in 1776. And this is our moment to revive those common ideals. God is real. There are 2 genders. Fossil fuels are a requirement for human prosperity. Reverse racism is racism. An open border is not a border. Parents determine
This guy is up there saying, "Don't be racist to white people."
Family is the greatest form of governance known to man. Capitalism lifts us up from poverty. There are 3 branches of government, not 4. And the U.S. Constitution, it is the strongest guarantor of freedom in human history. That is what won us the American Revolution. That is what will win us the revolution of 2024. Thanks for letting me introduce myself.
Bobby Buzzword. All right, I'm just gonna take a big old drink for that one. I think the 4th branch, I think he's claiming, is the Department of Justice. I believe is the implication there. What do you got for me, Rhonda?
For choosing. We will send Joe Biden back to his basement, and we will reverse the decline of this country. I'm a blue-collar kid. I work minimum wage jobs. To be
What is
able
he
to
on
make ends
about?
meet. I
Sending
understand
Biden
the
back to his
importance of the
basement.
American dream, and I know how that slipped away from so many millions of Americans. Will restore it. I'm a veteran who served in Iraq. I know what it means to put service above self. I'm also a dad and a husband to 6'5" and 3-year-old. I understand the importance of protecting parents' rights and the well-being of our children. In Florida, we showed it could be done. I made promises.
Florida
and I
is awesome.
delivered
Make
on all of
America
those
Florida.
promises. 2024
I hope he
is
says
make or
that.
break. We're not
I hope
getting
he
a
still- I hope he
mulligan.
sticks
No
to that one.
excuses. I will get the job done, and as your president, I will not let you down. God bless you all.
But we want to say thank you. Thank you to all the candidates on the stage tonight, and thank you to Milwaukee.
Thank you, everybody. We will see you on the campaign trail, from debates to primaries to the general election and the conventions before that. Thanks for joining us. Sean Hannity from the Spin Room starts right now.
Take it away, Sean.
Take it away, Sean.
Vivek to 10, DeSantis 15, Trump down a point, rest don't matter. Oh, okay, goodbye. All right, yeah, we didn't really get anything out of that at all, which is what I expected. But we did get a bunch of shouting matches. And a little bit of transphobia. Next one, I don't think is for a couple of months. Yeah, insta-kill perk. Yeah. I think I might go live tomorrow for a little. We can watch the Trump versus or Trump Tucker interview. What time is that? It was 2 hours ago, but we can. It's on Twitter. They did that. Trump didn't go to this, and they were running the Trump Tucker interview released at the same time as this to compete with it. He was trying to take eyeballs away from his competitors. Vivek is the worst candidate, but he might get second. He's literally just up there saying what people want to hear, and it's really funny. I think it's very shameless, and I appreciate a good shameless candidate. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm shutting it off. Vivek wins. I fear the most for America. There is zero chance. I will bet you any amount of money that Vivek Ramaswamy does not win. He's brown. Have you ever seen a brown Republican candidate? I haven't. I bet it's probably going to be an old white guy like Donald Trump.